Attack on Titan is widely considered as one of the best animes of the last decade plus. Since its first episode debuted in 2013, it gathered a tremendous amount of hype and plaudits, and deservedly so. Throughout its 10 years airing, it produced 87 weekly episodes, 2 TV specials, 8 OVAs, a spin-off, and an awful live-action movie, making it one of the most successful franchises in modern anime. After watching week to week and then waiting months and months and sometimes even years for further seasons, the show came to a close in 2023 and I was there for every step of the way. Since then, I've watched through the show again a number of times. Rewatches make me appreciate details I missed on the first go through. I decided to rewatch again recently after watching Studio Gek's reaction to each episode, shout out to them, and watching that gave me inspiration to make this video. So, with that being said, let's rank every episode of Attack on Titan from worst to best. A disclaimer before we start, this is just a ranking of the regular episodes of AOT, meaning no OVAs, no junior high, and no live action movie unfortunately. For the 2 TV specials, I've split them up into the 5 chapters as outlined in the specials themselves. I could have used the episodic release of all of them, but I feel the TV special versions are more authentic and better, to be honest. This means that there will be 92 total episodes in this ranking. Also, I do want to point out that I don't think Attack on Titan has a quote-unquote bad episode. Many episodes on rewatch either gain or lose value, so it can be hard to judge it for people who may have only watched the show once. But hey, I can only do what I can do. And remember, this is just my opinion. Anyway, let's get into it. Number 92, Season 1, Episode 2. That Day, The Fall of Shiganshina, Part 2. This feels harsh, I'll admit it, but something has to be last. Again, I don't think it's a bad episode, and it is an important one, but it just doesn't have the same quality of a lot of others, I think. We do get Hannes admitting he was weak in a memorable moment with Eren, and also the first appearance of the Armored Titan. But to be honest, after seeing the Colossal, the armor does feel a little bit underwhelming at first. Is that crazy to say? I don't know. The rest of the episode is fairly tame. We get Eren's vow to kill all Titans, which is important, but he repeats it so much early on in the show, it kinda loses its novelty. We do also get to see just how powerless humans are compared to Titans in this episode. The clips at the start, as well as Armin telling us how his grandfather died in the culling to retake Wall Moria, which is a sad moment. It then ends with Eren, Mikasa and Armin joining the cadets. Again, it's a decent episode, it has its moments, but it isn't particularly interesting, shocking or devastating like so many other episodes are. Number 91, Season 1, Episode 9, Whereabouts of His Left Arm. The Struggle for Trust, Part 5. Again, not a bad episode, but just decent in my opinion. We do get our first real shot of the scouts in action here as they're on an expedition beyond Wall Rose before Erwin calls for a retreat after hearing that Trost fell. We do also get Eren's first partial transformation to save himself, Mikasa and Armin from a cannon shot from the garrison, but that's really it. The transformation is shocking, especially the size of it and its kind of resemblance to the Colossal Titan, which could cause questions and intrigue, but other than that though, there's not much to this one. Number 90, Season 1, Episode 12, Wound, The Struggle for Trust, Part 8. Yeah, the episodes from Season 1 will dominate the lower entries of this list just because the show continued to get so much better as it went on. This episode we get a couple of good things as the cadets and Garrison struggle with Eren's mindless Titan state until he knocks himself out, and Ian making the call to continue the mission despite Eren's status. We get a tease of Mikasa's feelings for Eren, though she denies it. Her blush gives it away, classic anime. There's also a good moment with Jean where he distracts some Titans saying he's sick of people dying because of him and his gear malfunctions. Finally, Armin snapping Eren to his senses using his intellect and Eren's longing for freedom is a good moment and leads to a great closing shot. A tense episode, but not much more than that for me. Number 89, Season 1, Episode 11, Idol, The Struggle for Trust, Part 7. A tame episode by Attack on Titan standards. We get a good scene with Pixis' speech inspiring the troops using his smart and inebriated brain. Also rare comedy moments with Eren telling Hannes to get back to work and him not being able to hack his first sip of alcohol. Other than that, the ending is the really only other standout piece. We have Rico's talk with Eren mentioning her comrades, and then of course Eren's lashing out and attempting to hurt Mikasa, which causes her scar. That's not a moment that'll jump out to you when you think of Attack on Titan or even just the first season, but it is memorable. There's just a lot better. Number 88, Season 1, Episode 10, Response, The Struggle for Trust, Part 6. The reason this episode goes above the previous entries on this list is simply because of Armin's speech. Up until now, Armin was kind of just the other one, the guy who hangs with Eren and Mikasa, but this episode started to change that. Armin uses his brain and words to try and convince kids to let them live, and even when he starts to panic, Eren and Mikasa don't, showing they have full faith in Armin, which also helps to legitimize him in our eyes. Now, Kit still tries to cannon them anyway, but Pixa stops him, seeing such an exemplary salute. So yeah, shout out Armin. Number 87, Season 3, Episode 4, Trust. Yo, what's this? Not a Season 1 episode? Not even a Season 2 episode? Yeah, I think this one is one of the weakest of the series and is the weakest of the latter half of the series. We see Hitch and Marlowe of the military police getting captured by the scouts, and Hitch learning of Annie's true identity as the female Titan. Also a nice moment where Hanji saves Flegel Reeves and gets him to help expose the MP's actions of assassinations. There's also Erwin confessing to Niall that he and Pixis have a plan brewing, and Niall will have the pivotal part of deciding whether it succeeds or fails. There's also Jean's fake murder attempt of Marlowe and Hitch, which was funny and endearing, but yeah, that's all. Number 86, Season 1, Episode 24, Mercy, Assault on Stowheads, Part 2. Immediately back to Season 1 now, and spoiler, we're going to be here for a while. Now, this may seem a bit low, but this episode was always just kinda there to me. In this episode, we start with how the scouts figured out Annie is the female Titan. Through Armin's account of Annie using Marco's gear and Eren putting 2 and 2 together between Annie and the Titan's fighting style, he's forced to accept it, but still can't bring himself to transform and fight his friend. Eventually, after being crushed under rubble and hearing Armin and Jean try to rouse him, Eren recalls his dead comrade's mother and the vow he made to kill all Titans before he finally transforms. Again, fine episode. Has its moments, but nothing really special, except for the shot of Eren's Titan hitting Annie's Titan in her Titan face with his Titan fist. Number 85, Season 1, Episode 14, Can't Look Into His Eyes Yet. Eve of the Counterattack, Part 1. Oh man, I'm glad they changed the episode naming patterns after Season 1. Again, this might seem low to some people, but this episode is carried by the Eren and Levi moment as well as Mikasa's reactions. This episode probably has one of the most memorable scenes in Season 1, with Eren getting the shit kicked out of him while Mikasa watches in agony, which again, carries the episode, but not enough. Although this is the episode where we get a full introduction to Hanji, and to a lesser extent Mika. It was a great plan from Erwin and Levi to show Eren can be controlled, that is well, in order to secure him in the scouts and allowing Eren to realize his dream. We also learned that Titan recovery works in human form as Eren's tooth grows back. Some revelations and introductions and a great scene, but still not enough to place this episode higher in my opinion. Number 84, Season 1, Episode 13, Primal Desire, The Struggle for Trust, Part 9. A good, well-rounded episode here. We start with Jean getting out of trouble thanks to Marco, Annie and Connie, who balled another easy kill, before we see Eren finally back to his senses, carrying the boulder to plug the hole of trust. AOT has a fantastic score, and it really helps this scene where Eren carries the boulder while Mitabi is crushed and Ian sacrifices himself for another soldier. Eren finally plugs the hole and the scouts show up to help clear the area. Next, a shocking moment arises as Jean finds Marco's dead body, throwing him for a loop, and as we see later on, Jean never really gets over it. Finally, we have Eren locked up while being visited by Levi and Erwin. Erwin asks about the key Grisha left Eren. I'm sure it's not important. While Levi is interested in Eren's vow to, guess what guys? Kill all Titans. This cements their decision to try get Eren in the scouts. This episode had a bit of everything. I can't knock it. There's just others better. Number 83, Season 1, Episode 3, A Dim Light Amid Despair, Humanity's Comeback, Part 1. Now, you may think this is a bit high, but this episode has a special place in my heart. This is where we got introduced to Reiner, Bertolt, Annie, Sean, Connie, Marco, Sasha, Krista, Emir, Shadis, and everyone's favourite, Mina and Thomas. We get the best character introduction of all time with Potato Girl Sasha, who by the way is my favourite character. If you see some bias towards her in the list, shut up. No, you didn't. We get good comedy throughout the episode with the Potato, Krista and Emir, Jean shaking hands with Eren before wiping it away in disgust after Eren tells Mikasa to cut her hair. It's all great stuff. We also get to see real proof of Eren's determination as he tries harder than everyone else to try and master the ODM gear so that he can live his dream and his big words don't come back to bite him. We also get some foreshadowing of Reiner's internal struggle as well as Eren's upcoming Titan powers revelation, which only becomes clear on a rewatch. The scene with Eren, Armin, Bertolt and Reiner is probably the best scene of the opening few episodes bar one. and makes the upcoming betrayal hit so much harder. The Stannis is later though. This is a happy one. Look at Aaron, he could do it. Woo! Yeah, it turns out his belt was broken and was holding him back. What are the odds of that? I bet we never hear that again. Number 82, Season 1, Episode 23, Smile. Assault on Stohez, Part 1. This is the episode where we get the shocking revelation that Annie is actually the female Titan. Can you believe it? How could they possibly figure it out? Yeah, I think everyone already figured this out beforehand. I'd be surprised if majority of people didn't put this together before this episode came out. The revelation was good, however, with Armin and Annie's conversation of what makes a good person. Before this, we got a nice exposition episode of Annie in the MPs and got introduced to Hitch and Marlowe, plus the transformation scene at the very end was cool. Number 81, Season 1, Episode 15, Special Operations Squad, Eve of the Counterattack, Part 2. This episode, though not jam-packed, turns out to be an important one. Here we learn of Hanji's Titan experiments and her two test subjects / best friends, Sonny and Bean. We're also introduced to the members of the Levi squad, who'll be Aaron's watchdogs / teammates. After talking himself into being bombarded by info from Hanji all night, we get the tragic news that someone killed Sonny and Bean using ODM gear. Erwin then poses the question, who do you think the real enemy is? A question that will take a long time before we get the answer. However, we do learn about the impact of sunlight on different sized titans and get a glimpse of Hanji's true nature as a titan fanatic. Number 80, Season 1, Episode 18, Forest of Giant Trees, the 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 2. Some good character stuff to start off as Reiner, Jean and Armin recover from their encounter with the female Titan, but they're down a horse and Jean flirts with falling back into his selfish ways and just taking a horse and galloping off to save himself. Before a decision needs to be made though, Krista shows up with the missing horse to save the day as the boys gaze upon her in reverence, leading to a great line from Reiner, who considers her his future wife. Meanwhile, the female Titan is still wrecking shop as the scouts climb up the giant trees and take a breather, despite no one knowing the reason why. Not even the Levi squad. Armin begins to piece things together as the female Titan somehow tracks the exact location of Eren. There's a really cool shot in slow motion as a poor unknown soldier gets absolutely mangled. This episode ends as the Levi squad asks their captain for orders as he lets off an acoustic signal. This episode does a good job of building tension and suspense, which gives it a good boost up to the spot. Number 79, Season 1, Episode 19, Bite. The 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 3. A flashback episode now, folks, as we watch Eren be subjected to Hanji's experiments. The poor bastard. The visual of Eren down the well after biting himself to pieces covered in his own blood was a powerful image that still makes me shrivel up a bit to this day. And the coolness of the Levi squad being ready to kill Eren after his accidental partial transformation, with Levi having to calm them down, was very effective. There's some funny shots as well, such as Levi drinking his tea as the lightning hits and Hanji's reaction to the Titan hand and his disappearance. There's a nice moment with the Levi squad where they all bite their hands to show solidarity to Eren. Then we snap back to the present where one of the most important scenes in the season plays out. Levi asks Eren to choose whether to fight Titan on Titan with the female Titan or trust his comrades of the Levi squad. Hearing the pleas of his teammates, Eren decides to trust them and doesn't transform. I'm sure nothing will go wrong there with the power of friendship. Then the trap is sprung as Erwin and other scouts shoot spiked cables to neutralize the female Titan, looking to discover its real identity. The flashback takes up most of the episode, but I can't complain too much since it's still a good one. Number 78, Season 2, Episode 8, The Hunters. Yep, it's the cracker scene episode. This is comfortably the weakest episode of Season 2, I think. The flashback carries this episode. It's nice seeing Hannes, Mikasa and Armin reflect on their childhood. I love the line where Mikasa asks, why is Eren always running ahead and leaving us behind? Also, Hannes reflecting on how he misses being a freeloader was funny yet endearing, because in this world, that's the dream. We also get Connie and Historia showing their resolve, wanting closure with Reiner, Bertolt and Ymir respectively. That cracker scene just isn't it though, I'm sorry. Number 77, Season 1, Episode 7, Small Blade, The Struggle for Trust, Part 3. This episode really hits home just how powerless the main cast are at this point in time. We get that haunting scene of the soldier shooting himself with his rifle, while elsewhere Connie is trying to rile up anyone who will listen. A broken down Armin is forced to accept reality and confirms to Mikasa and everyone else that Eren and the rest of his squad were eaten in a powerful scene. We also see Jean take his first step to becoming the leader we know after listening to Mikasa's speech and flying after her while berating everyone else. It doesn't last long though, as Mikasa burns through her gas and Jean watches his comrades die after they followed him. As Mikasa lays almost ready to embrace certain death, she remembers Eren's will and fights. She realizes that if she dies, no one else would remember the memories they shared, which was a great moment. We then get the shock of seeing a Titan that attacks other Titans. We even get a memorable moment at the end where Armin asks Mikasa to leave him a blade to finish the job himself rather than let a Titan do it, but Mikasa discards it, refusing to leave him as well. Number 76, Season 1, Episode 4, The Night of the Closing Ceremony, Humanity's Comeback, Part 2. I know this seems high, but I do have a soft spot for the cadet era of our main characters, before they were forced to grow up and the world destroyed them. Is it as important or shocking or as satisfying as others? No, but it is entertaining. Sade's commentary of the cadets gives us a better understanding of them, plus we get some funny stuff during the hand-to-hand combat scene, mainly Annie immediately putting Reiner on his ass. There's another funny moment after Eren takes down Jean and Mikasa blames the noise on Sasha farting. This is the episode where we find out the top 10 rankings, which becomes inconsequential as the series progresses, but it's nice in the moment at least. We also got Eren's speech, which went on to inspire other cadets to join the Scouts as well, and we hear that the trio of Eren, Mikasa and Armin are all sticking together in the Scouts. We get another comedy moment when Sasha reveals she stole meat from the stockroom and corrupts everyone into wanting a piece. So, a nice wholesome episode, right? Well, not quite, as we have to end with something shocking and frightening, such as the colossal Titan showing up out of nowhere to cause a hole in Trost in a fantastic scene and cliffhanger. So yeah, this episode is great. I don't care. I stand by the spot. Number 75, Season 3, Episode 5, Reply. This is the episode where Ermin is facing a tribunal over the fate of the Scouts, and he pleads their necessity to fight Titans and avoid a civil war. Though the nobles ignore him, his scheming with Pixis begins to play out. It turns out that Pixis had orchestrated a false report that Walrose was fallen to be called out in front of the nobles in order to fool them and the so-called king. It's a satisfying moment and good plan to fake Walrose falling to show the true colours of the nobles to deny refugees into Wall Sina. This episode is really carried by the coup. It's satisfying, it's entertaining, it's just nothing too special outside of that. Number 74, Season 1, Episode 16, What Needs to Be Done Now? Eve of the Counterattack, Part 3. A slower paced episode for Season 1, but it set a lot of things in motion which earned it this spot. The scene where the cadets watch their comrades' bodies being burned is done so well. Connie's on his knees crying while Jean can't even tell which bones are Marco's anymore. This was the moment where Jean comes to the realization that he needs to join the Scouts despite his fears, leaving the cushy life he dreamed of behind. There's also a great scene later as all the cadets are forced to cement their choice. The internal struggles of Jean, Connie and Sasha come across great as their fears envelop them, but they fight through to join the Scouts for humanity rather than themselves, along with Reiner, Bertolt, Krista, Ymir, Armin and Mikasa. We also get two good Jean and Eren scenes. The first one when Jean tells him Marco is dead and not everyone dies dramatically or honorably, no one even knows how. Yet. Then he piles on the pressure, begging Eren to prove his worth and to prove he's worth people dying for, which strikes Eren's determination. Number 73, Season 1, Episode 17, Female Titan, the 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 1. The episode where the female Titan makes her debut. Her first appearance was done fantastic. She immediately is a threat with her speed and intelligence and takes out Armin's comrades, which leads to him speculating that she's a Titan shifter just like Eren. She's not bloodthirsty though, as she checks Armin's face when she knocks him off his horse before running to other soldiers. Armin then realizes that she must be looking for Eren as he, Reiner and Jean chase after her. After finding out they were all told that Eren would be in different spots of the formation, Armin lets the curious Reiner know where he thinks Eren would be. I'm sure that won't cause any issues. Jean wants to stop her, showing his growth, and after a close shave, Armin says the suicidal maniac is dead, which causes the Titan to freeze. She then captures Reiner in her hand, but he bravely fights out, claiming they've bought enough time. However, the female Titan takes off towards the direction that Eren is suspected to be. There's a lot of good stuff here, and the female Titan is introduced as an immediate threat. It's a good episode. Number 72, Season 2, Episode 9, Opening. A dialogue-heavy AOT episode this time, as Eren, Ymir, Reiner and Bertolt have a nice chat up in the trees. We actually see intelligence from young Eren this time, as he bides his time and listens for information. Some growth from our boy. Took him long enough, to be honest. Reiner's jumbled mind then reveals itself as he wonders if he'll get promotions until Bertolt reminds him that he's a warrior. We then get our first flashback to Marco's death that implies that Reiner may have had a hand in it while Annie and Bertolt watched. Eren and Reiner have a shouting match where Eren says he'll kill them both after Bertolt says he felt sorry for Eren after his mother died. Ymir then picks up that the Beast Titan is kind of important and suspects that it may be the cause of the newest invasion of Walrose. Reiner then takes up on Ymir working things out and makes her an offer she can't refuse, promising Historia's safety beyond the walls if she and Ymir join them. Almost the whole episode takes place in these trees and it's done very well. It has character development and revelations and a peek into Reiner's head. It's not action packed, but it doesn't need to be. Number 71, Season 3, Episode 2, Pain. I have a feeling people might think that this is a bit low. I mean, this is the episode with the Kenny and Levi ODM chase, which was animated fantastically, and included the bar scene, which I always enjoy. This is also the episode where Levi tells his new squad, and by extension us, that it's not just humans versus titans anymore. It's humans versus humans now, and there's enemies within the walls, not just outside, which is an unexpected change of pace, but a needed one. This leads to some good development as Armin is forced to get his hands dirty because of Jean's hesitation. We also get more torture-loving Hanji as her and Levi manage to get the MP to reveal that Rice is the true royal family through a very simple plan, and Demo Reeves gets his throat slit for betraying the MPs for the scouts. His son managed to avoid the same fate by needing a piss. I know that sounds like a lot for this low, but there's just better episodes out there. Number 70, Season 4, Episode 2, Midnight Train. Our first entry from Season 4. This episode is definitely better on a rewatch than the first time through. You know, once you're past the shock that we're in Marley rather than on Paradis. We see that Zeke is held in high regard by Marley despite being an alien. We learn as well that Zeke only has a year left alive due to the curse of Ymir, and the rest of the world is catching up to countering Titans, which makes him want to return to the island of Paradis for the founder. We're also introduced to the guy who ate Ymir, Galliard, and the Car Titan, Peak. Her gimmick of not being able to function normally after being a Titan for so long is done well here. We get some other good moments like Reiner seeing the similarities between the current warrior candidates and his generation of candidates, and also Falco spelling out that he doesn't want Gabby to inherit the Titan because he doesn't want her to die. Also, Falco helps this poor, sweet wounded Eldian. What a guy. We get a further peek into Reiner's mind as he says the Eldians on the island were all sorts of different people, implying that they're not all devils to Gabby's confusion. It's a good episode introducing the dynamics and characteristics of the Eldians on Marley and really makes what's to come more impactful. Number 69, Season 4, Episode 9, Brave Volunteers. Oh baby, another flashback episode. This one hits harder after the events of Season 4, Episode 8. No, I'm not ready to talk about it. This episode introduced us to Niccolo, Onyankopon, and possibly the creepiest character in the whole series, Yelena, who claims to be looking to help the Eldians alongside Zeke. Through her message and Eren's memories, Eren corroborates Zeke's claim, which he didn't want to suggest beforehand for Historia's safety. We then get some lighthearted scenes where Armin admits it was fun learning about the outside world, and Sasha being obsessed with Niccolo's food, which makes him very happy. Eren is still miserable though, thinking about how everyone wants to kill them. We're forced back to the brutal present, with Niccolo grieving at Sasha's grave before inviting her family to come try the food she loves so much in a bittersweet moment, while Levi takes Zeke to the forest of giant trees to keep an eye on him. Oh, and did I mention that Armin is telling all this to Annie, who's still encased in crystal? This episode may seem a bit high, but given what happened the episode before, it was needed as a palate cleanser, and it does its job well. Number 68, Season 2, Episode 5, Historia. Another flashback episode, who'd have thought it? This one revolves around Ymir, Krista, and a training exercise gone wrong. After being lost in the blizzard, Krista tries to save Daz while Ymir wants to leave him behind, imploring Krista to live for herself instead of pretending to be something she's not. When Krista returns to the base, she sees Daz and Ymir have somehow made it back. Ymir tells her she'll explain one day, and when she does, Krista will have to reveal her secret too. We also get the revelation here that Ymir was the Titan that ate Reiner and Bertolt's friend Marcel. Krista uses Ymir's words against her, telling her not to die to protect them, so Ymir tears the tower down. Also some sort of foreshadowing here. Once it's down, the scouts clean house, Eren gets his first ODM kill, and Krista finally reveals her true name, Historia. This episode is carried by Historia and Ymir. The music and scenery during their talk in the snow is fantastic, and it's one of my favourite dynamics of the whole show. Number 67, Season 1, Episode 21, Crushing Blow. The 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 5. A devastating episode here where the female Titan destroys the Levi squad while Eren is forced to watch after trusting his teammates. They were just outmatched completely. Eren transformed, gets smoked, and gets kidnapped. Some great shots of Mikasa carving up the female Titan close out the episode as her and Levi follow to get Eren back. The first half of this episode is done great. The Levi squad die brutally and their reactions and helplessness is put across excellently. Number 66. Season 4, Episode 10. A sound argument. Back to the flashbacks as we see another one here for a chunk of the episode when the nation of Hizuru visits. We learn more of Mikasa's heritage here from the greedy Kiyomi Azumabito, which is interesting, but the most important scene is back in the present where Eren asks Hanji what plan she has. Though done very aggressively, we know now that it was a genuine plea. We also learn Historia is pregnant. Poor Reiner. Also, Niccolo wants to serve the soldiers some specific wine. I'm sure that won't lead anywhere. We get another memory, a heartwarming one this time, where Mikasa recollects the time all the old friends built the train lines and Eren told them all he didn't want anyone to inherit his Titan because he cares about them too much and he wants them all to live long lives. Of course, this makes them all blush. This is a big contrast to the current day where they're all questioning Eren's motives and Connie wants Mikasa to answer just why did Eren laugh when he heard Sasha died. The highlight here was definitely the train scene. It was just nice to see a moment like that at this stage of the series. Plus, a big plot point is set in motion by a heartbroken Niccolo. Number 65. Season 2, Episode 7. Close Combat. I know this seems low, but again, it's a good episode, just nothing fantastic. I like Mikasa realizing she hesitated when attacking Reiner and Bertold, seeing their shocked and terrified faces. Also, Eren keeping calm for possibly the first time ever as he remembers Annie's combat moves on him and Reiner. Although we never learned who won between Annie and Mikasa in their hand-to-hand fight. Also, the moment where Hanji's dream comes true and she communicates with Eren in Titan form is pretty funny. The ending is also a good cliffhanger as the Colossal Titan falls off the walls on top of Reiner and Eren to turn the tide of a fight that Eren had the upper hand in. Again, good episode. It was great seeing Eren get his hands on the armored Titan after so long. I just think there's a lot better. Number 64. Season 4, Episode 11, Deceiver. This episode revolves around Gabi, Falco, and a girl named Kaya, who happens to be the child Sasha saved in Season 2. After killing a guard and escaping, Gabi has to face her biggest fear, talking and living among citizens of Paradis as if they're just regular humans. Meanwhile, Hanji confronts Flock and Co for leaking info regarding Eren to the press, the weight of the world on her shoulders. We also meet Louise, who was the girl Mikasa saved all the way back in Season 1 and is now a hardcore Jaegerist who idolizes Mikasa. Back with the kids, Kaya already realizes Falco and Gabi are Marleyans, but still keeps it a secret. The highlight of this episode is the closing scenes. Kaya brings them to where her mother was eaten and begs Gabi to know the reason why. She didn't commit any sins or atrocities, why did she have to die? Gabi's perspective is shaken for the first time and Falco confesses Kaya's mother did nothing wrong, she was just a victim. Kaya then extends an olive branch, inviting them to dinner hosted by a fellow Marleyan, Niccolo, to help get them home. Oh, if only she knew what Gabi did to her savior Sasha. Number 63, Season 3, Episode 3. Old Story. This episode we learn of the heartbreaking backstory of Historia. Her mother's neglect, the fact she was so starved for affection she was shoved and felt happy, and finally seeing her mother murdered before her eyes by Kenny and Rod Rice while Historia got sent into hiding with a fake name. Hanji then poses the hypothesis that if a Titan eats a Titan's shifter, they become a Titan shifter with the same powers. On the money, Hanji. Erwin relays his planned coup to Pixis before making Hanji the next Scout commander and being taken into custody for the death of Demo Reeves. Erwin then shares his troubled past, how he asked his father, who was a teacher, about humans beyond the walls. After his father answered in private, Erwin told his fellow pupils, and his father was murdered by the MPs as a result. The same MPs Hanji tortured. This is a well done episode where we finally get to see what makes Erwin tick and getting a step closer to solving Titan mystery thanks to Hanji and Amir's account. Number 62, Season 1, Episode 20, Erwin Smith. The 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 4. This episode is the one that cements the consensus feeling that Erwin Smith is the man that can lead humanity to salvation. After capturing the female Titan, his plan is to extract the person inside, already figuring there was a spy among their ranks following the deaths of Sonny and Bean. This is also the episode where we get Armin's line that will always stick with me. In order to rise above monsters, we have to abandon our humanity. The female Titan is one step ahead though, calling Titans to devour her body, forcing a retreat. Aside from Levi, who Erwin tells to resupply, Erwin suspects the person within the Titan is still out there disguised as a scout, and he is proven to be right, as Gunther is shockingly murdered at the hand of someone in a scout uniform. A genuine shocking ending, along with seeing Erwin's mentality, as well as Armin catching on to things quicker than everyone around him. That's a recipe for a good AOT episode. Number 61, Season 4, Episode 12, Guides. This episode starts revolving around Yelena. She admits to Pixis she'd met with Eren secretly 10 months earlier, asking him to apply pressure on the military to act. Hanji then lets Onyankopon know, and he swears he had no idea, letting her know in turn that Yelena had been the one to form the defectors, and anyone who questioned her ended up dying accidentally. We then get a moment that caught me off guard the first time I saw it, as after denying Mikasa and Armin the chance to speak to Eren, and considering candidates to inherit Eren's Titan, Dallas Zachary is blown up due to a bomb planted in his torture device. What a way to go. The aftermath leads to questioning between regiments and even in our main group, as the three factions of the military look to keep Eren and Zeke apart at all costs. We then end on a little cliffhanger as we see Peak scouting out, showing Marley has infiltrated the walls once again. More build up here, but done very well, and with a shocking moment halfway through, can't knock this episode too much. Number 60, Season 3, Episode 1, Smoke Signal. An intriguing start as we get a flash forward to a longer haired Eren at what looks like the sea. Fun fact, after seeing this scene, for some reason I was convinced Armin was going to die before they got to the sea. I was almost right. We learn that our good friends are now the new members of the Levi squad. I assume that's a promotion. Now everything goes smoothly of course as Eren is struggling transforming into a Titan. We get a nice Eren Historia moment where he admits he never really liked Krista but is a fan of Historia and her newfound honesty. The shippers love this one, I'm sure. Hanji discovered Pastor Nick was tortured and murdered by the MPs for information on Historia, so Levi takes this as a cue to get moving and smuggle both her and Eren to a new hiding spot. Armin and Jean cosplay the pair and get taken captive before Mikasa saves them, while Eren and Historia ride smoothly and safely to the hideout. Yeah, right, this is AOT we're talking about here. Levi's old mentor Kenny appears, shoots Nifa in the head, and we end with a fantastic shout from Levi. A good episode to kick off the season with a great ending, but not much more outside of that to be honest. Number 59, Season 1, Episode 25, Wall, Assault on Stowheads, Part 3. A great way to end the first season. Annie and Eren battle, crushing a church filled with people in a harrowing moment. Annie tries to climb and escape the walls, but Mikasa cuts her fingers just below the hardening, leading to one of the coldest moments of the entire series. Annie then remembers her father back home who's waiting on her return, making her cry and causing Eren to hesitate, giving her the chance to encase herself in crystal. The fight is great, but it's the final shot of the episode that always sticks out to me. I remember watching this for the first time and my jaw dropped when a part of the wall fell away and the Titan was stood inside the walls themselves. It was crazy and we had to wait 5 fucking years until the next episode came out. Still, it was a great season finale that's earned this spot. Number 58, Season 2, Episode 10, Children. This episode is the classic AOT formula of kinda answering some questions while also causing more questions. Mobilet visits Ragiko and makes the connection between Connie's mother and the immobile Titan that crushed their house. We find out that Historia is important not just to Ymir but Reiner and Berthold's mission as well for some reason. We also get Ymir's much needed backstory, which is just devastating. Treated as an idol and god before being thrown under the bus by her followers, Ymir tries to take all the blame to save everyone, but it's fruitless. This is our first real glimpse of the methods of turning people into titans, which was a shock to see for the first time. Through sheer luck, she turns back human after eating Marcel and vows that she is done with lying. After discovering Historia was the same as her, Ymir can't help herself and tries to help her out of the same trap. Having convinced Reiner and Berthold they need Historia now, she transforms and captures her. This is a great episode carried by the backstory. It really shows Ymir's true nature that no matter how much she tries to be selfish, she's truly a selfless person at heart. Between the hiatus between season 1 and 2, I completely forgot Ymir even existed, so I was shocked to see how big of a character she was in season 2. But it's done so well, I can see why she became a lot of people's favourites. Number 57, Season 3, Episode 10, Friends. Another backstory, lads. This time revolving around Kenny Ackerman and his friendship with Yuri Rice, former holder of the Founding Titan. After being astounded that Yuri apologized for the persecution of the Ackermans, he took Kenny on board as a confidant, which Kenny agreed to in order to clear the Ackerman name. We also see how he meets Levi, Kenny revealing that he is Levi's uncle. Kenny's sister died in the brothel where he found her son, Levi. Kenny then reveals the reason he wanted the Founding Titan powers. Everyone before him who had it was kind, compassionate, and wanted peace. He had hope beyond hope that if he obtained the power, he would become all those things as well. Kenny attempts to pull a power play with the Titan Serum, but Levi calls his bluff, and Kenny gives us possibly his most iconic line and the line that would go on to define the series. Everyone is a slave to something. We see a glimpse of vulnerability from Levi as he asks Kenny why he left it. With the answer being Kenny thought he wasn't cut out to be a parent before he gives Levi the serum and dies. It's a great background for a character that hasn't been in the show very long, but it makes you care that he's dead, so it did its job. We get a funny moment where after being crowned queen, Historia punches Levi, but of course the good things don't last long as we see Reiner, Bertolt and Zeke and Shiganshina, where Zeke powers over the other two, saying the coordinate comes before Annie and it will come to them. Great episode. Number 56, Season 3, Episode 9, Ruler of the Walls. The huge Rod Rice Titan scraped its way towards Orbit District, ignoring the cannon fire. Eren's efforts to control it as coordinate in vain. We see growth from both Eren and Historia here. Erwin suggests Historia keep off the walls and safe as she is to become queen, but Historia states the importance of showing the people she's worthy, rather than telling. Meanwhile, Eren is disappointed in himself and how weak he thinks himself to be. He felt he was strong because of Titan powers, but realizes it is only his Titan powers that are strong, not him. He sees two boys and a girl in the district, a reflection of the day where the Colossus showed up at Shiganshina. We see possibly the scariest Titan shot of the whole show, which is saying something, with Rod's great face and body before being blown apart and Historia slices the flying nape in midair, after which she declares herself the new leader of the walls. Levi then discovers the dying Kenny, who reveals the Titan serum as a trump card. A good episode here. The Rice Titan is disgusting and Eren's self-reflection and Historia's patricide are good character moments, earning the episode this spot. Number 55, Season 2, Episode 2, I'm Home. Look, this may seem high, I know, but remember, Sasha is my favourite character, so this episode has a special place in my heart. Before we get to that, we get some good stuff from Armin, who ponders on the walls, wondering if Titans would attack the other Titans inside the walls themselves, as well as wondering if the hardening Annie used to seal herself was also the same method used when erecting the walls. Hardening and erecting in the same sentence, that's some good stuff right there. The meat of the episode is of course Sasha's actions. The scene where she finds a Titan midway through devouring someone while her daughter is frozen in fear and hopelessness is just harrowing. Helpless without her gear, Sasha has to make the choice to leave the mother there to die and rescue the little girl. There's also two flashbacks from Sasha this episode that help flesh out her character. Her father warning her that her selfishness and stubbornness regarding refugees from the wall falling isn't good enough, and a separate one where Ymir is angry at her for being ashamed of where she came from. The moment where Sasha throws the girl ahead, shocking her into running so Sasha can defend her, is excellently done, and her reuniting with her father after deterring the Titan is a nice happy moment. Same can't be said for Connie though, as he arrives at his village to find the Titan laying on top of his ruined home. The poor bastard. Yeah, background and character development for my favourite character, this deserves a spot. Number 54, Season 3, Episode 8, Outside the Walls of Orbit District. Straight into the fire in this episode, as Historia tries to save the still shackled Eren, telling him to stop bitching. The rest of Squad Levi arrive to help and also tell him to stop bitching. We get a cool moment where Eren is apologising for being weak, but the Levi Squad are calm, knowing that they've been through worse. We get a call back to the old Levi Squad, where Levi again asks Eren to make a choice, but this time it works, as Eren transforms and hardens to save the squad. Not like that. Levi, seeing this, realizes this ability is what could plug the hole in Wall Maria. We also get a glimpse into Historia's family issues once again, as she admits to Eren that she considered eating him because she wanted to believe in her father and know what it's like to have a parent. Levi lets Historia know that she'll have to be queen, and for the first time, she chooses for herself and takes on the responsibility of queen. The start of this episode is definitely the highlight with the callback to Eren's choice with the first Levi Squad. Just overall good stuff. Number 53, Season 1, Episode 8, I Can Hear His Heartbeat, The Struggle for Trust, Part 4. Also straight into the fire with this one as we visit Season 1 for the first time in a while. Armin suggests leading the strange Titan that's fighting other Titans to the supply headquarters, while Jean leads the rest of the cadets to the same place. Not all though, as many die on the way there, their deaths resting heavy on Jean's shoulders. When they arrive, we get that fantastic shot of a Titan peering into the HQ before a fist knocks the shit out of it right in front of Jean. One of my favourite scenes from early AOT. There's some good banter from the 104th after this before Armin's plan of lowering the basket and shooting the face of some of the Titans in another great scene. We also get the line that will go on to define Jean, as Marco tells him he's not a leader because he's strong, but because he knows what it's like to be weak. Then one of the most shocking scenes of the series, as the Titan who was attacking other Titans turns out to be Eren. And you're lying to me if you tell me that your heartstrings weren't pulled when you see Mikasa listen to Eren's heartbeat and hear her cry. The ending of this episode is amazing, but there's a lot of good stuff throughout the episode, one of the best from Season 1. Number 52, Season 1, Episode 22, The Defeated, the 57th Exterior Scouting Mission, Part 6. Sticking with Season 1 here as Mikasa and Levi pursue and attack the female Titan. Despite injuring himself helping the hot-headed Mikasa, Levi is able to overcome the female Titan and rescue Eren. We get one of my favourite shots of the season when Levi looks back while retreating and we see tears flow from the eyes of the female Titan. These Titans were always mindless, empty monsters. To see one doing something as human as crying really strikes home in the moment. As all the scouts retreat, they're forced to dump the bodies of their dead, including Petra, as Levi watches on as her corpse gets left behind. To compound this misery, Petra's father walks and talks with Levi, saying his daughter may have caught feelings for her captain as Levi walks stoic and silent as the scouts are ordered to deliver Eren to the capital. Definitely not the happiest episode, but very few episodes are happy in Attack on Titan. This one is mostly putting across the damage failing this mission caused, both in terms of the casualties and the scouts' reputation. Number 51, Season 3, Episode 19, The Basement. Does this seem a bit low for the episode where they finally reach the basement in Shiganshina? In my mind, no, because it doesn't pay off until the next episode. We start with Armin coming to terms that he is now the Colossal Titan, and that Levi, in his own words, chose Erwin to die rather than Armin. We get a haunting scene of Eren and Mikasa leading Levi and Hanji through the destroyed, empty streets of what used to be their home. Memories fly through the minds of Eren and Mikasa as they walk, from running innocently as children to watching Carla shopping to the day the walls fell with people panicking and dying around them. They finally reach the basement, and of course, the key doesn't fit. Levi puts foot to the door, and Mikasa finds where the key belongs to, and we finally find out what's hidden down there. Books. Yep, books. Now, not just any books, as we get confirmation that Erwin's theory was correct. Humans do indeed exist and thrive beyond the walls. The celebrations of the people once they hear Wall Maria has been reclaimed contrast perfectly to the shock of the scouts once learning the truth. A great episode. It gave us some answers we were looking for, but it's really a setup for the real revelations in the next one. Number 50. Season 4, Episode 1, The Other Side of the Sea. It's only fitting after our last entry that we take a trip across the sea to the land of Marley, where we're introduced to the next warrior candidates, Udo, Sophia, Falco, and Gabi, in the middle of a war with another nation. There's also Colt, who is Falco's brother and the already chosen next Beast Titan. There's a great opening shot to this episode where Falco is reaching up to the sky and telling the birds to fly away from the war. Falco's a good lad. The 4 kids are trying to inherit the Armored Titan, and Gabi is the frontrunner, which she claims to be because she hates the Eldian devils on the island more than anyone, and boy is she right, she can't stand them. After she destroys an armoured train single-handedly and is shielded from fire by Galliard and a love-struck Falco, Reiner and Zeke arrive. Zeke causes it to rain titans, not as catchy a song, while Reiner transforms and destroys some walls to activate his PTSD before he gets pieced up by artillery shells. This is showing us that the rest of the world is starting to catch up to the Titan powers, making many Marleyans realise that they need the founding Titan more than ever. Zeke transforms, destroys the fleet, and a peace treaty is signed, ending the 4-year war between Marley and the Mid-East Allied forces. We also see some guy reading a paper, but I'm sure we don't know him. This was a brave episode to start off the season, as it's revolving around who we believe to be the enemy at this time. Good episode, though maybe not as interesting to some people on a first watch. Number 49, Season 4, Episode 4, From One Hand to Another. Sticking in Marley here, we're introduced to Willy Tybur, whose family possessed the final Titan shifter we haven't met yet, the Warhammer Titan. He discusses his idea to make an announcement in Liberia in regards to his plan to deal with Titan issues during the festival. Falco finally tells Gabi that he's trying to become the Armored Titan because he cares about her, but she doesn't get it. Falco is also delivering messages for nice old Mr. Kruger, just doing nice deeds that won't bite him in the ass at all, I'm sure. Kruger then meets Gritch's father, and I'm sure there's no connection between the two, as the kids enjoy the food at the festival. We get a great ending where poor innocent Falco leads Reiner into a meeting with Kruger, unknowingly trapping him with the man Reiner recognizes as Eren. This one is all about the ending. The confrontation between Eren and Reiner is a great moment and sets up the next episode beautifully. Plus, it's nice to see the warrior kids have fun for a change earlier in the episode. Number 48, Season 2, Episode 4, Soldier. Back to Season 2 for this one, where this episode takes place pretty much exclusively at Utgard Castle. In the castle, Connie admits the Titan on his house kinda looks like his mother. Ymir then does maybe the most kind-hearted insults towards Connie, making him feel so ridiculous that he puts the idea out of his head to save his mind going crazy at the thought, which was nice but in a dickhead way. Reiner caught it as well and brings it up to Ymir, who distracts him after being able to read some foreign writing on a can of herring. Titans attack the castle despite it being nighttime and infiltrate the castle. For the first time we see Marcel getting eaten while saving Reiner, a moment that comes full circle when Reiner pushes Connie out of the way before throwing the Titan out the window. We get another simping Reiner moment after he mentally asks Krista to marry him after she treats his wound, while Connie thanks him, remembering Annie also saved his life. Bertold remarks that Reiner used to be more of a warrior than a soldier, making Reiner confused. What could this mean? To make things worse, through the Beast Titan and a bunch of more Titans appearing, Henning, Lin, Nanaba, and Gelgar are all killed. Gelgar despairing that his bottle of alcohol is now empty, and Nanaba's screams as her trauma is relived in her last moments are just haunting. The episode then ends with the shocking revelation that our good friend Ymir is also a Titan, as she leaps off the roof and transforms to fight. A lot of good character stuff here, a good tense episode with a shocking reveal at the end. Number 47, Season 2, Episode 3, Southwestward. Now, I bet a lot of people wouldn't have this episode over its successor in Season 2, however, this has one of my favourite moments in the whole series, so it gets a bit of a boost from me. That moment when Connie is about to leave and the Titan says, "Welcome home," chills every time. And the first time I saw it, my jaw literally dropped. Just fantastic. There's also a cool shot while Gelgar and Nanaba are searching for a breach in the dark. Love that scene. And we're left with the discovery that there is no breach. So how are the Titans inside Wall Roads? We do get an answer to another theory though, as Hanji confirms Armin's hypothesis that the walls are made from Titans and they're hardening, leading them to believe that if Eren can pull off the Titan hardening, they can retake Wall Maria. Nick also informs us that Krista would be allowed to speak the truth to the walls for some reason, as Sasha delivers the message and receives a steamed potato for her effort. Good for her. Back at Utgard, we get a flash forward to the Reiner Ymir herring scene to build tension, while Titans approach the castle and the beast climbs the wall to leave us with dread. I really like this episode. The end is good, the tension when looking for the breach is great, the reveal that Krista is more important than we first realised is surprising, and that moment with Connie and the Titan at his house is amazing. So yeah, deserves a spot. Number 46, Season 3, Episode 7, Wish. This is the episode where most of the new Levi squad get their hands dirty. Connie, Jean, and Sasha all killing members of the anti-personnel squad, coming at the expense of an injury to Hanji. We also get some explanation from Rod Rice about the history of the walls. The same power that built the cavern built the walls, and the king altered people's memories except for immune bloodlines. Rod tells the story that his daughter Frida would have got rid of the Titans, but Grisha stole the power and killed her and the rest of his family. Since Grisha passed this power to Eren, he now carries it, but he's unable to use it since he has no royal blood. This drives an eavesdropping Kenny into a rage, as it's revealed the only reason he stuck around with Rod was because he wanted that power. As Kenny says a normal life would bore him, he cuts Eren, allowing him the chance to transform, while Rod urges Historia to inject herself and eat his spinal fluid, hinting that that's the key to the Titan shifters. Hesitating, she asks Eren why he's not transforming, and we see Eren's sorrow at his father's actions, urging Historia to eat him as atonement. She hesitates still, remembering Ymir, how Eren called her normal, which made her happy, and the realization that no Rice had eliminated the Titans before Frida. Rod claims it is the will of the first king that wanted the Titans to terrorize, and that Yuri became a god upon inheriting the Titan, and Rod's duty is to bring God to the world. Historia says fuck that and breaks the syringe, throws her father to the ground and tries to help Eren escape, claiming she doesn't care about humanity anymore, and she's the worst girl to ever live. Meanwhile, we see Rod transform into an absolutely huge Titan as the episode ends. This episode is all about Historia, finally living for herself like Ymir always wanted. Plus, seeing the Levi squad finally accept their new dilemma was cool too. Number 45, Season 3, Episode 14, Thunder Spears. The episode where we're introduced to the best weapon humanity has for fighting Titans. Except for Levi. Speaking of, this is where Erwin gives Levi the message that will haunt him for the rest of the series. Take out the Beast Titan. Eren uses himself as a distraction and fights Reiner as Erwin reflects on all the underlings that died for his orders, so he could reach the basement and find the answers he always wanted. The shot of him standing on the mountain of corpses is just crazy. Eren's rage builds, knowing that he's fighting in the streets of his old town, keeping Reiner just busy enough so that he's caught off guard and pierced by thunder spears. This episode is great. It gives Levi his obsession, as well as giving us a further look into the mechanizations of Erwin, as well as a sense of hope for the scouts with the titular thunder spears. Number 44, Season 4, Episode 17, Judgment. Back to Season 4 as we start this one with a shock seeing the state Levi was left in after Zeke, as well as seeing Zeke is now fully recovered and back to form. Meanwhile, the Marleyan invasion of Paradis gets underway with Galliard and Reiner taking on Eren. They're even able to turn the tide on Eren using cannon fire mounted on the back of the Car Titan. As Onyankopon frees the scouts begging for their help, we finally see Connie snap, shouting he's sick of being betrayed and he doesn't want to help anyone. It's a good representation of all the shit these guys have gone through since cadetship. Armin tries to convince everyone that Eren is just pretending to go along with the euthanasia plan, as it is the only way to get access to royal blood without harming Historia, as well as letting Mikasa know he thinks Eren was lying to her about being a slave to her Ackerman will. He was on to something here, as Armin usually is. This was the first episode of Season 4 Part 2, and it started off with a bang, and believe it or not, it still got crazier. Also, this is the first time we heard both the rumbling and Akuma no Ko, so it gets bonus points for that since they are the best opening and ending songs, respectively. This is not up for debate. Number 43. Season 1, Episode 6, The World the Girl Saw, The Struggle for Trust, Part 2. Eagle-eyed viewers may realise that this is the third best episode from Season 1 and it is all about Mikasa. She manages to save civilians from an abnormal, inspiring a little girl as she does so. I wonder if we'll ever see her again. We then discover why Mikasa feels so strongly towards Eren. As children, he saved her from the kidnappers that murdered her parents, saying only the strong can survive in this world and she needs to fight. Retroactively, we find out this is where her Ackerman powers first awoken. This was also the first day Eren wrapped a scarf around her, and Mikasa began to live with the Jaegers. The backstory for Mikasa is heartbreaking until we get a single moment of fuzziness as Eren looks after her, before more sorrow crashes down on us as we remember Eren was eaten, and Mikasa has no idea. Though this episode may lose some value on a rewatch, it's still a fantastic episode, where we understand why Mikasa is so dedicated to Eren. Especially on the first watch, this episode is a real highlight of Season 1. Number 42. Season 4, Episode 16, Above and Below. We start with a bang in this one, literally, as Hanji and the scouts that have her detained hear a thunder spear explode while Zeke, with half a body, gets hidden very disgustingly in a time. Meanwhile, Yelena shoots a Marleyan in the head for disrespecting Eldians, mostly Sasha, so he deserved it. This occurring after a meeting with the military members who drank the tainted wine. Also, Eren meets with Gabi, who's finally starting to question her philosophy that everyone on Paradis is a devil. Eren calls Gabi the brat who kills Sasha, which made me giggle and sad at the same time. Pieck shows up and fakes siding with Eren, looking to prove herself by ratting out where her spies are, and Yelena reveals the euthanasia plan to the captured scouts, which Armin also fakes to be touched by. The crafty bastard. Pieck reveals her deceit to Gabi's shock as Galliard transforms and Eren barely avoids being eaten. In an epic way to end Season 4, Part 1, Reiner has appeared on the island once more. Though not the most action-packed episode, it builds the tension well, and the parallels between Pieck and Armin faking buying into Eren and Yelena's plans was a nice touch. Number 41. Season 3, Episode 12, Night of the Battle to Retake the Walls. This episode is all about the vibes for me. Not at first though, as we learn that Levi is entrusted with the only Titan serum, and we get a heavy scene where Levi wants Erwin to stay behind from the retaking of Shiganshina for his own safety, but Erwin refuses, saying he needs to see what's in the basement for his own eyes as soon as possible, that it's more important to him than humanity's survival. Erwin is finally forced to come clean to Levi what his main goal has been all along, and it's wonderfully done. Then we get the vibes. The scouts are celebrating before their big mission. There's some funny moments here, like Sasha trying to eat all the meat and people. It's also nice to see people reflect on their past times, like the time on the wall before the Colossal shows up. There's a fantastic fight scene between Eren and Jean, taking us back to the good old days, until they start to get sore and exhausted and want someone to stop them, but no one does. Comedy is really well done in AOT, despite how rare it is. Eren, Mikasa and Armin have a heartwarming moment ahead of going back to home, where Eren and Armin get excited to see the outside world once again, with Mikasa smiling at their antics, and Levi listening in whilst hidden. Little did we know this would be the last time we really saw the trio like this, which makes it stick in my mind even more. After Connie, Jean and Sasha get hyped, the scouts head out to where Reiner and Bertolt await. This is a great episode. Seeing the scouts have fun is just so endearing, and the scene with Levi and Erwin is great. That's not it though. The real gem of this episode is the mid-credit scene that is so creepy. When it starts, it seems to catch everyone off guard when they see it first. A great teaser for the second part of Season 3. Number 40. Season 3, Episode 11, Bystander. The episode starts with some funny stuff. Historia admits that she may have got a bit carried away when she says she wants humanity to be eliminated, and Mikasa scolds Eren for helping. Plus, everyone is exasperated at Marlo and Eren's obliviousness towards women. We see the newly invented Titan guillotine do its job while Eren is gushing blood, but the meat of this episode is a flashback, as Eren finally pieces together who he saw in his father's memories in the Crystal Cavern. It was none other than their old commandant, Keith Shadis. As Eren and the squad visit him, Keith tells his story. He found Grisha beyond the walls, integrated him into society, allowed Grisha's flattering words to go to his head, and watched as the woman he loved fell for Grisha instead. While Grisha's rep grew from curing a plague, Shadis' stock plummeted after multiple failures as scout Scout commander. Keith admits all he wanted to be was special, like Grisha, and he shouts this at Carla, who held the newborn Eren in her arms. It was also Keith who brought Eren back after Grisha turned him into a Titan. Grisha telling the ex-commandant his child is not like Keith. This echoes what Carla told Keith, that Eren is special because he was born into this world, and that's proof enough. Remember when Eren's belt was busted all the way back in episode 3? Yeah, it turns out Keith did it on purpose in order to keep Carla's son alive, but after seeing Eren's will and determination, he realized he couldn't do anything but be a bystander and watch those who were chosen for more. A fantastic episode. Everything with Keith was done so well, especially considering we barely saw him since the cadets graduated. Seeing him come to terms with his place in the world and finding out he seamlessly played a part in so many great moments of the story so far. Great stuff. Number 39, Season 1, Episode 5, First Battle, The Struggle for Trost, Part 1. Back to Season 1 with the episode which, I believe, is the second best one of the season. It probably has the most shocking ending in the whole season and among the series as a whole. After the Colossal disappears and Eren and the rest of the cadets are thrown into their first battle, there's a nice moment where Eren inspires Jean, who's cursing his luck, one day away from the easy life in the interior. Mikasa immediately gets promoted to the elite despite wanting to stay with Eren no matter what, but after a headbutt for some reason, she agrees. We learn the Titans' weakness is their nape of the neck, and the cadets ride optimistically into battle. Of course, they get destroyed. Unfortunately, everyone's favourite characters, Thomas and Mina, get eaten. But our main characters are good, right? Well, Eren lost a leg and Armin shuts down and is about to be eaten until Eren remembers the book Armin showed him of the outside world. Spurred on by his desire to see the outside, he stands and saves Armin, reminding him to have to find the sea. And then he gets eaten. Yep, our main character got eaten 5 episodes in, while Armin screams. This was crazy at first watch, and I remember just staring at the screen, not believing what the hell just happened. I was lucky I watched after the entire season was over, so I could just load up the next one. I couldn't imagine what it was like for week-to-week viewers or manga readers. It was so crazy, and that alone makes it deserve this spot. Number 38, Season 3, Episode 6, Sin. This is the episode where we learn how Eren received his Titan, a fairly important plot point. After making contact with Historia and Rice, all 3 see the memories of Grisha slaughtering the Rice family, devouring Frida, and passing on his power to his young son. Also, Historia remembers Frida visiting her on the farm. Frida wipes her memories after every visit, but those visits were the only times Historia felt a genuine human connection. She was also the one that gave Historia the book with a character called Krista, which Historia uses her alias. Back in the city, we see Zachary's terrifying torture device. Yikes. And we also get the great line from Erwin to Pixis where he tells him humans will continue to fight until there's one or less, something that echoes true to the end of the series. Levi and Mikasa confirm that they both felt a power awakening for them before, as has Kenny, lending more credence to the Ackerman name. We then find out through a Kenny flashback why the royal family fear the Ackermans. Royal blood is unable to alter Ackerman memory, making them dangerous when they turn their back on royalty. I really enjoy this episode, and it answers 2 questions we've had for a while now, being how did Eren get his Titan and what makes the Ackerman special. Really good episode here. Number 37, Season 4, Episode 3, The Door of Hope. By now it's probably clear I like flashback episodes, and here we get one for our good friend and enemy Reiner. We see the reason Reiner wanted to become a warrior, his father being a Marleyan, meaning he couldn't be with his Eldian mother. So if he became a warrior and his family honorary Marleyans, they'd live happy together, right? Wrong, he rejects Reiner despite his status in a brutal moment. Turns out Reiner was the one at the back of the list for most of the process, but ended up jumping Porco Galliard and getting the armoured. We find out the reason why when the warriors reach Paradis. Marcel admits to Reiner he was only chosen because he criticised his brother in front of the military to protect him. He was so shocked at this he didn't realise the Titan behind about to devour him, but was saved by Marcel, who was eaten instead. After receiving some harsh words and kicks, Reiner convinces Annie and Bertolt to see out the mission, or they all may be punished. Reiner saying if they need a Marcel, he'll be Marcel. The Reiner they know is dead. That definitely came true. After we see what the 3 got up to that day the walls fell and their secret meetings during cadetship, we come back to the present and get one of the most haunting shots where Reiner has a loaded rifle in his mouth. He backs out once he hears Falco training, deciding he will live for the new candidates. Speaking of Falco, he takes a seat beside an old injured Eldian soldier he helped before and has a nice chat. Little does he know that soldier is actually Eren Yeager. This is a well needed episode that explains more of Reiner, his origins and his motivations, as well as the despair he's felt in his life and still feels. Great episode. Number 36, Season 1, Episode 1. To You, in 2000 Years, The Fall of Shiganshina, Part 1. Is this too low? It feels low, but at the same time it feels like there's a decent amount of episodes better. but it's iconic on the first one. Yeah, screw it, it's my list. This is the day where humanity received a grim reminder. You all know the story. Eren wakes up from a nap crying. Eren calls Hannes a freeloader. We see the scouts leave for a mission. Mikasa rats Eren out for wanting to join the scouts. Grisha dangles the key to the cellar in front of his son. Eren and Mikasa, but mostly Mikasa, save Armin from some bullies. And the Colossal Titan appears and boots through the wall. Eren and Mikasa run back to their house while Armin holds back. They find Carla buried under rubble. Hannes shows up, kills the Titan, and rescues all three. If only, eh? The ending of this episode is haunting. Hannes realizing that he is no match for a Titan and having to make the decision to save the kids. Carla telling them to live but covering her mouth as she begs them not to leave her. And Eren and Mikasa having to watch as she gets devoured and her blood rains. It is probably the most iconic scene of the show and a reason why people consider this episode as maybe the most shocking first episode of an anime ever. And it's hard to disagree. Maybe I would have this higher if I seen this happen before I heard this happened. It was spoiled for me, but it's still so effective. There's also cool little details in Eren's dream at the start that you can pick up on a rewatch. It's a great episode, there's no denying that, but I just think there's still a lot better. We respect the OG though, don't get it twisted, and that's why I have it as the best episode of Season 1. Number 35, Season 4, Episode 8, Assassin's Bullet. Nope. I don't want to talk about it. You think it was bad Eren had to watch his mother get eaten? I had to watch Sasha get shot. That was way more traumatizing. She was shot just when they looked like they were going to get home scot-free and was shot by Gabi. Fuck Gabi. Don't get me wrong, she's an amazing character, but she killed my favourite character, so fuck Gabi. And to make it worse, it was for nothing, as Gabi did it partially because of revenge for Zeke, but Zeke was working with Eren all along. Hanji berates Eren for forcing the scouts' involvement and the amount of civilian casualties, but again, they're not the real casualty here. Connie announces that Sasha had died, surrounded by her friends in the 104th spilling tears. Eren asks Connie what her last words were, and Connie tells him it was me. Of course it was. Like he did with Hannes, Eren laughs learning that his friend is dead, while Jean advises him it's his own fault. At least Sasha got the opportunity to say her last words for her true love, Meat. Not everyone got that luxury. I remember after this episode telling my girlfriend Sasha died and I was so upset, and she was so confused that she didn't watch the show. I think I gave her a fright. That's how heartbreaking this episode is. I can barely watch it anymore, but it still deserves this spot. Fuck Gabi. Number 34, Season 4, Episode 18, Sneak Attack. Okay, I'm ready to move on. Armin convinces his comrades to help Eren, saying he had no choice and telling Mikasa he was lying to her and Armin in order to push them away. As Reiner looks to have the upper hand on Eren, Zeke arrives and hits him with a boulder before taking out some Marleyan ships, and Eren looks to come into contact with his brother in order to fulfill his plan. There's a nice moment between Niall and Falco as they talk about family. The sadness setting in as Niall realizes he probably will never see his again. Pixis organizes some soldiers to help Eren, while Mikasa does the unthinkable and places her scarf down, not wearing it for once, showing her conflicted feelings over Eren's actions. This is also where we get the very creepy Yelena facial expression, more terrifying than any Titan we've seen. Niall guides Falco back to Colt and Gabi, and we finally see Gabi's character come full circle. After hearing Kaeya said she doesn't care if Gabi is alive or dead, despite the rest of her family hoping her and Falco are safe, Gabi finally concludes there were no devils at all. The people on the island are just people. Falco admits his own guilt of leading Eren to Reiner unwillingly, and finally confesses his love to Gabi fully, to her shock. After a clever ruse to fool some Jaegerists, Pieck allows Magat to get the perfect shot on Zeke and knocks him from the wall. Not dead, but as the episode ends, they need to finish the job before he can scream. Great episode here. Builds the tension well, and we get great character moments such as Mikasa finally putting down the scarf, Falco's confession of guilt and love, and Armin restoring some of the group's faith in Eren. And of course we see Gabi's character arc come to completion beautifully. Still, fuck Gabi. Number 33, Season 4, Episode 25, Night of the End. I spoke before how I felt certain scenes carried certain episodes, and I think there's no better example of this than the campfire scene from this episode. The awkwardness between the scouts and the Marleyan soldiers as Hanji literally stirs the pot in the middle of them just fills the air with tension. Jean and Magat exchange words over the history between Marley and Eldia until Hanji points out to Magat that after seeing the outside world, they can't go back to being ignorant of it. It's then Mikasa and Annie's turn to start scrapping, as Annie won't humour Mikasa's idea of talking to Eren and doesn't believe she could kill him to stop. Annie agrees not to fight though until Mikasa tries talking to change his mind. After Yelena is revealed to be a disillusioned Marleyan by Pieck and Magat, she expertly spins it to put everyone at odds once again. She brings up Reiner and Annie causing so many deaths in the walls, and Armin's transformation killing so many in Liberia. She then coaxes Annie into telling the details of Marco's death, but Reiner takes over, and after revealing Marco's last words were, "We haven't even had a chance to talk yet," and tries to apologize, Jean hits him until Gabby jumps in and takes a blow for her cousin. Fuck Gabby. Her and Falco beg for help, and Jean agrees in the morning. As they arrive at the flying boat's location, they find armed Jaegerists waiting for a battle, while Kiyomi is taken hostage by Flock. This episode is just great, and like I said earlier, the campfire scene is one of the best with so many moving parts and really highlights the history between everyone. Number 32, Season 3, Episode 22. The Other Side of the Wall. Believe it or not, guys, but we finally reached the sea. I know, it's crazy. Before that, we get a classic Dick Flock move, telling Hitch that he's sure Marlowe regretted his decision to join the Scouts after Jean tried to give her some kind words. He then sticks by his decision that it should have been Erwin saved instead of Armin, and everyone just let their emotions get in the way. After Mikasa calms Eren down, Flock says she's the only adult, as at least she accepted Armin's fate, a realization that rocks Mikasa visibly, realizing she accepted her friend's death. Flock then wants the Scouts to be more open in future, so people like him can decide if the cause is worth dying for. Armin agrees with Flock, and Eren tries to cheer him up with prospects of the outside world, but Eren remembers how the world outside wants him and his people dead, and the words die in his throat. Eren kisses Historia's hand during the ceremony and sees his father's memories and much more, which sends him careening on a path that he's stuck on for the rest of the series. Now that almost all Titans on the island are eradicated, the path to the sea is clear. Once they arrive, everyone's reaction is great. Levi is cautious, Hanji is wild to discover, and Jean, Connie and Sasha are goofing around. Eren and Armin's dream came true, but Eren is the most subdued, as all he can think of is the enemies he still faces across the sea. The ending of this episode hits so hard. Eren finally gets to the sea, and he can't even enjoy it. His boyhood wonder gone, unable to feel anything except anger and dread of the enemies still to fight. Number 31, Season 3, Episode 15, Descent. Man, this episode starts rough. We finally learn how Marco met his fate. Overhearing a conversation between Reiner and Bertolt, he puts two and two together that they may be Titans themselves, but before he can report anything, Reiner attacks him. He calls out to Annie. Surely she'll help, right? Nope, she's also a Titan. So she's forced to take his ODM gear and leave him helpless as he shouts that they didn't even get to talk about it first. Reiner's split personality is then triggered, wondering why Marco was being devoured. Months later, while waiting for the Scouts to arrive in Shiganshina, Reiner tells Bertolt that he'd need to show more initiative for once, and that they'll save Annie as well as Historia for Ymir. In the present, there's a great moment as the Armored Titan lays defenseless, and Connie and Sasha start crying as they'll soon have to kill someone they consider a friend. Not yet though, as Reiner's Titan gives a final roar and Zeke tosses a barrel containing Bertolt over the wall. Armin tries his old trick of using Annie to provoke Bertolt again, but he calls his bluff, saying he wants Eren and the death of everyone else inside the walls. His conflicted feelings now gone, he has no problem killing the Scouts, even though he still thinks of them as comrades. He admits that the Islanders are not the devils he first thought, but they still have to die. After avoiding a Mikasa attack, Bertolt rises in the air and sees Reiner has shifted to protect himself. Bertolt transforms and the members of the 104th are able to avoid disaster, but they're the last ones standing as the Colossal Titan rains fire around them. A Bertolt episode, who'd have thought it? A great one too, as we see his resolve has been strengthened tenfold, leaving our Scouts in a tough spot. Number 30, Season 3, Episode 21, Attack Titan. We get a lot of answers this episode, which is always nice considering how many mysteries have been met in this show. Kruger explains to Grisha that he was chosen due to his hatred of Marley since he was a kid, a feeling Kruger knows too well. Kruger gives Grisha his mission to take back the Founding Titan. We then get a huge revelation. The Titan users can only live for 13 years after they inherit their Titan, the curse of Ymir. Despite Mikasa's denial, Eren has less than 8 years left alive, while Armin has 13. If a Titan shifter doesn't pass on their power, it is assigned to a random newborn, as all subjects of Ymir are connected through the paths. Kruger also reveals the name of the Titan Eren went on to inherit, the Attack Titan, a Titan that always pushed forward in search of freedom. Meanwhile, we get our last communication from Ymir. Historia reads the letter Ymir sent her, apologizing for leaving her behind and lamenting she couldn't marry her. She advises Historia that soon she will be dead, a fact confirmed when Historia touches the letter and she sees a flash of Ymir's memories. As Hanji delivers news that the rest of the world lives in fear at the thought of Eldians releasing the rumbling, Eren discovers the key to using the Founding Titan's power is to come into contact with someone of royal blood, a fact he keeps to himself for Historia's safety. The ending scene is great as Kruger prepares to transform Grisha and sacrifice himself. He tells him to start a new family and make sure he finishes his mission if he wants to save Mikasa, Armin, and everyone else. Grisha questions who these people are and Kruger doesn't know, wondering whose memories are those. A fantastic episode here that answers a lot of the questions we had. Much needed. Number 29, Season 4, Episode 6, The Warhammer Titan. Remember when Eren broke the first rule of anime? Yeah, we know, shut up. As the title says, this is where we're introduced to the last of the 9 Titans. Eren eats Willy Tybur, but it's Lara Tybur who transforms, along with the Jaw and Car Titans. We also see the deaths of Sophia and Udo through Eren's attack and the panic afterwards. The Warhammer gets the best of Eren and we see one of the coldest moments of the series. Tybur asks Eren for his last words and he says, "Now Mikasa," who shows up and rescues Eren as usual with perfect timing. It went hard, can't lie. Mikasa questions Eren over his actions that have caused numerous innocent civilians to die. The Warhammer is revealed to be the only Titan that can survive with its nape slit. Gabby sees Sasha snipe a guard. Slight foreshadowing for later. Fuck Gabby. Eren is able to deduce the relocation of Lara's body and severs this connection to their Warhammer, while Galliard is fought off by Levi and Mikasa. As the episode ends, Galliard is shocked at the Devils of Paradis. In the opposite to our last entry, this one is all action, plus has 2 of the coolest scenes with Eren's last words and Galliard's declaration of the Devils. Great episode. Number 28, Season 4, Episode 7, Assault. Yeah, we're cooking now. Well, we were until Eren got skewered. However, we see Eren showing his much improved battle IQ instead of just rushing in and or crying. He leaves his first attack Titan and creates another body almost instantly, showing his much improved control. On the other side of things, Reiner's armor Titan isn't regenerating at all due to his lack of will to live, portraying just how far he spiraled. We also get Armin's first Colossal Titan transformation, destroying a Marleyan fleet, Levi successfully capturing the Beast Titan, and the Car Titan's panzer unit being wiped out by some sharpshooting by Sasha and good old Jean's leadership. We then get a very uncomfortable moment as after Mikasa incapacitates Porco, Eren uses his Jaw Titan to crush the crystal protecting the Warhammer, allowing him to drink her blood and gain her powers. Crazy. Porco would be next, but hearing Gabby and Falco's calls, Reiner finally gets his ass in gear to save his old friend, though he's still pissed that he can't die in peace. Maybe one day, bro. Number 27, Season 4, Episode 15, Soul Salvation. Oh baby, it's flashback time, and this time it's for Big Man Zeke. It's a very cool exposition as we get to see the world through his eyes after we already saw the same time period with Grisha in an earlier episode, and it isn't until watching this that you understand just how biased Grisha's story was. Zeke's relationship with Tom Salver, Zeke's predecessor for the Beast Titan, is also heartwarming to see as he starts to act like more of a father to Zeke than Grisha. Plus, all the baseball analogies and references come full circle here. After Salver convinces Zeke to turn in his Owlpair, it's revealed that he was the one that discovered the Founding Titan can alter Eldian's body composition as well as memories, which planted the euthanization plan in Zeke. Salver also reveals the death of his son, killed by his wife who was ashamed of his Eldian heritage before ending her own life also. Salver also reveals the discovery that the Founding Titan can still carry out the plan if they come into contact with someone of royal blood, i.e. Zeke. There's a nice bittersweet moment as Zeke eats Salver but puts on his glasses and refers to him as father. That was a weird sentence. The ending of this episode is also crazy as Zeke tells Levi he wanted to save the lives of any children who were to be born into this cruel world before crying Salver's name and blowing them both up. Mad bastard. Number 26, Season 4, Episode 23, Sunset. Let's slow things down now for this episode as we start with a reunion of everyone's favourite pair of besties, Hitch and a newly defrosted Annie. We get a hard-hitting line from Hitch as she says the only meaningful thing she's done as a soldier was pick up the dead bodies in the wake of the likes of Annie and Eren. Exposition time again as we see Annie's upbringing in Marley under her father. After years of hard training, Annie's father regretted making her a warrior, but too little too late. However, Annie said she'd do everything all over again if it meant she could return home to him. Meanwhile, Armin wants to chase down Connie, who has kidnapped Falco, but still feels like it should have been Erwin brought back instead of him, while Mikasa's scarf has gone missing. Both equally as important. Floch also reveals to Jean that Eren confided his plan to him 10 months prior and warns the volunteers that if they want to live, get in line with the new Eldians because their homeland will be crushed soon anyway. Falco, being the nice guy he is, thanks Connie for helping him, oblivious to his situation, or the fact he's now a Titan, or the fact his brother is dead. My poor guy, man. Peak and Magat watch airships return back to Marley before we finally see Hanji and Levi arrive. Levi's in a bad way, but as Hanji put it, he's too stubborn to die. I really like this episode. The dynamic between Hitch and Annie is sad yet oddly endearing. Mikasa and Armin start to realize they might not be able to change Eren. Jean is tempted by his past dreams, and Connie is reluctantly manipulating an innocent Falco. Just good stuff all around. Number 25, Season 4, Episode 24, Pride. Immediately following his predecessor, we see Hanji patch up Levi as best they could, while also musing the only reason he survived was probably because he's an Ackerman. When Levi comes to, we see his frustration and remorse rear its head again at not being able to fulfill Erwin's last request, which has haunted him for a long time now. There's also a great chat between Falco and Connie, as Falco recognizes Connie from the time Gabby kills Sasha and accepts his fate. Fuck Gabby. Connie tells him that's just part of war and innocently asks Falco for help brushing Titan teeth in a funny moment. I'm sure he has no ulterior motive. Armin then looks to sacrifice himself to save Falco, but Connie instead saves Armin in a great moment that finally brings Connie to his senses and reminds him to be a soldier his mother would be proud of. Back in Shiganshina, a mortally wounded Louise is revealed to have Mikasa's scarf. Mikasa requests it back as the girl she inspired dies, saying she doesn't regret a thing. Annie joins up with Armin's group, ditching Hitch, while Onyankopon laments how things have gone, having only wanted to help the Eldians. Jean and Onyankopon escape the Aegis with help from the Car Titan, and we get a great line from Jean. He could have taken the easy life that he used to crave, however those ashy bones would never forgive him. 3 seasons later, and Marco's brief run is still influencing him. We do end with a corny line from Connie though, as they wake Reiner and tell him it's time to save the world. Other than that, great episode. Number 24, Season 2, Episode 1, Beast Titan. Hey, call me crazy, call me biased, I don't care. This is one of my favourite episodes in the whole series. We get the classic AOT formula of answering a couple of questions while leaving you with 10 more. We learn the church have info about the true nature of the walls through Pastor Nick, and get our first glimpse of how ruthless Hanji can be when needed. 12 hours earlier, the rest of the 104th recruits are in Wall Rose in their civilian clothes, without equipment, under guard, when Sasha and Mika sense Titans, leading them to believe the wall has been breached. Mika is also revealed to be the second strongest scout behind Levi. Back in the present, Eren proposes getting Mikasa a new scarf, the audacity, as they hear the news of the breach. Back with Mika, he's cleaning house before a hairy Titan shows up and throws his horse at him, causing him to be incapacitated. Then we get one of my favourite moments in the entire series. The Beast Titan speaks. The first time I heard this, my jaw dropped. It was so unnerving and shocking. We never even heard Eren's Titan talk. On top of that, he seems to have a level of control over other Titans, and he takes the ODM gear from Mika before leaving him to die at the hand of some of the weirdest looking Titans we've ever seen. Look, you might think I overrate this episode, but I don't care. This was the first new episode we saw in 4 years, and it was great. And the Beast Titan speaking will always stick in my memory. Also, extra points for the opening and ending debuting. Sasageo slaps, and I remember racking my brain trying to figure out what the ending visuals mean. We eventually found out, and low-key, I wasn't that far off. Shout out to me. Number 23. Season 2, Episode 12, Scream. Sticking with Season 2 here, and this time we're jumping to the finale. As Smiley Titan approaches to shock Eren and Mikasa, Hannes appears, not believing his luck at getting to avenge Carla's death 5 years earlier. Historia finally manages to get through to Ymir, reminding her of her own words to live for herself finally. Armin tries to protect an unconscious Jean, while Eren is unable to transform into a Titan to help Hannes. Eren and Mikasa watches as that dick of a Titan eats another one of their loved ones, and Eren is so fatigued, frustrated and ashamed that he just starts laughing hysterically, the first sign of his breaking mental. Mikasa consoles him and borderline confesses her feelings, thanking him for always being there for her and wrapping her scarf around her. This is done really well, as Mikasa's loving words are in contrast to the havoc being wreaked by Titans in the background. Eren pulls himself together, dodges Mikasa's possible kiss in typical anime protagonist fashion, as he futilely swings a punch at the Titan with a scream. This seems to set off a reaction for Reiner, Bertolt and Ymir, but also other Titans, as they all converge and devour the Smiling Titan. Ymir sees this as a positive glimpse for the future within the walls, while Reiner curses the fact that Eren has the coordinate, the worst possible person to have it according to him. He was right. Titans then rush Reiner again at Eren's words, as Erwin calls a retreat. Ymir apologizes to Historia before helping save Bertolt and Reiner, making her choice. Ymir explains to them the least she could do was return with them after eating their friend a few years ago, before reminiscing that it was fun being a goddess for a while. Back in the walls, Jean lends more pressure to Eren, saying he'll need to make full use of his new powers to make the lives lost worth it. And Hanji tells Erwin and Levi that Titans are actually humans. Erwin's reaction reflects our own. A smile at knowing the answer before Levi's words remind us that it's been humans we've been watching being killed all this time. We end with our first sight of Zeke emerging from the Beast Titan to end the season. Lots to unpack in this one, but just a great episode overall and a fantastic season finale. Number 22, Season 4, Episode 14, Savagery. A tale of two halves in this episode. First half is all about the dialogue, second half about that action. Eren surprises Mikasa Armin and Gabby, fuck Gabby, just wandering in with a cut hand threatening to transform calmly, as you do. Eren reveals he attacked Marley because of his own choice, his own freedom, which Mikasa can't accept. Eren expertly counters this, first insinuating to Armin that the only reasons he has feelings for Annie is that he inherited Bertolt's feelings, and calls Mikasa a slave, as he claims her Ackerman blood is what causes her to be so indebted to Eren, that she sees him as her host and that he hates her. Eren's words are given some credence as Armin tries to punch Eren, but a crying Mikasa stops him. Armin does eventually land a hit though before Eren beats the shit out of him. A much different dynamic from the trio that we're used to. Meanwhile, in the forest of giant trees, Levi is mulling over his plan to finally kill Zeke and fulfill Erwin's orders. Zeke makes a run for it though, letting out a scream that causes all the scouts around him to transform into Titans. Zeke taunts Levi, not believing he'd actually kill his comrades, but he mustn't know who Levi really is, and Levi mows through his co-workers and catches up with Zeke, who's forced to transform. Levi devises a brilliant strategy of cutting branches to disguise himself while telling Zeke the scouts had to kill so many comrades to get where they are now, a hard-hitting line. Levi mutilates Zeke and takes him hostage solo. When Zeke comes to, he's missing his limbs with a thunder spear in his body that'll blow him up if he moves. He's missing his glasses though, not that Levi cares, and Zeke recalls playing catch with Sauber. Oh yeah, and back in Shiganshina, Keith is beaten by cadets at the command of Flock. Between the conversation with Eren, Mikasa and Armin, which shows how far Eren has truly separated himself, and the Levi and Zeke fight, this episode more than justifies its spot so far up. Number 21, Season 4, Episode 13, Children of the Forest. We start this one with Zeke telling Levi how he turned Bragaco, before Levi learns that the Jaegerists killed Zachary and have taken control within the walls, leading Levi to question his belief in Eren over the past few years. Meanwhile, Niccolo is hosting the Brouses with Falco and Gabby for dinner, fuck Gabby, and the scouts drop by to ask a few questions. Niccolo also seems protective over a bottle of wine Jean tries to drink for some reason. Gabby sneaks away and tells Niccolo she was the one who killed Sasha, hoping he'd helped him, but in rage over his lost love, he breaks the bottle of wine over Falco's head, who pushed Gabby out of the way. Niccolo brings the two to Sasha's family in order to kill them for revenge, but Sasha's father talks him out of it, knowing that it was a part of war, and it's up to them to keep the children away from it. Niccolo releases the Marley natives, but Kaya isn't as forgiving, running at Gabby with a knife before Mikasa stops her. Being screamed at in rage from a person who has only helped her so far shows us the first crack in Gabby's hateful visage. Niccolo tells Hanji to wash Falco's mouth out, believing the wine contains Zeke's spinal fluid, and Yelena asks him to serve it to high-ranking officers, meaning they are all susceptible to turning into Titans. It also explains why Niccolo snatched the bottle from Jean earlier, wanting to protect them. While Mikasa and Armin watch over Gabby, Eren casually walks in with a bleeding hand, wanting to talk, as Flock demands Hanji to take him to Zeke after Niccolo's friend sold him out. I love this episode, mostly the slow evolution of Gabby and the reaction her actions set off in Kaya. Plus, Eren's shocking yet casual entrance is always funny to see. Number 20, Season 3, Episode 13, The Town Where Everything Began. Oh, we're back, baby. The scouts make their way through the woods towards Shiganshina, with Armin trying to calm Eren's nerves by talking about how afraid he is. This is where Eren admits the book Armin showed him is what spurs him on. When they reach the wall, Armin sees proof of a fire, but they proceed as normal and Eren plugs the outer gate. Eren realizes there are no Titans around, and Armin concludes that there must have been 3 people on the walls and their own scout elsewhere to warn of the approaching Survey Corps. Erwin trusts Armin to figure out where their enemies are hiding, and he realizes that those outside the walls always find a unique way to attack them. Armin gets one of his brainwaves and, recalling the Titan within the wall in Stohis, calls for the scouts to search inside the walls themselves. A soldier finds a cavity before being skewered by a hiding Reiner, but oh shit, it's Levi, and he stabs Reiner, who somehow survives and transforms. Then we see the Beast Titan transform alongside a row of Pure Titans. The Beast throws a boulder, plugging the hole and separating the scouts from their horses, setting up a showdown. This episode is great. We finally arrive back in Shiganshina for the first time in 6 years. Armin gets given more trust and starts to prove himself as a strategist, and the sudden emergence of the Beast Titan and other Titans is crazy. The suspense in this episode is off the scale throughout, no matter how many times I've seen it. Number 19, Season 4, Episode 27, Retrospective. This episode is non-stop as the rumbling continues. The flying boat needs to be up and running, but usually takes a day to do so. Kiyomi suggests they sail to Odiha and service it there, and so they do, while avoiding Flock's attempts to kill them. Flock figures out the plan and orders his crew to sink the Azumabito's ship, as everyone else defends it. A Jaegerist train is bombed to the surprise of everyone, and after seeing Reiner struggle to defend Annie, Falco transforms into the Jaw Titan for the first time. Flock breaks the ranks, but is sniped by Gabby, who just never misses somehow. Fuck Gabby. And Peak and Magat retreat retrieve a frenzied Falco. Magat stays back to hold the rear, allowing a safe exit for the rest, where he bumps into Keith, who reveals it was he who took out the train. Magat and Keith speak about how those they trained gave them hope for the future, and reflect upon their mistakes before sacrificing themselves to blow up the ship and prevent pursuit. On the good guy ship, Hanji tells Annie they can't save Liberio on time, eliminating her will to fight. She asks Mikasa, could she kill Eren or watch as she does it herself? When Mikasa doesn't answer, Annie admits that she's sick of fighting, even if it's Eren. There's just so many great moments. Reiner protecting Annie, Falco's transformation, and the sacrifice of Magat and Keith just hits so hard. What an episode. Number 18, Season 3, Episode 20. That Day. And what a day it was when this episode came out. This is the Grisha backstory episode, the episode where we learn of what life outside the walls is like. Grisha brought his sister Faye to see an airship, they get caught, Grisha takes both beatings, but Faye is killed, savagely and mercilessly mauled by dogs at the hands of Marleyan. Grisha sees his father thank the guard who lied about the death, and it fuels Grisha's hate for both men and the society. We get the story of the founder Ymir, whose power met the 9 titans that Eldians used to conquer Marleyans. Marley then stole 7 of the 9, while the Eldian king retrieved the Paradis Island and erected 3 walls, giving us the world we have today. After an argument with his father, Grisha is forced to accept his role in life as a devil. After taking over his father's clinic, Grisha is indoctrinated into the Restorationists, where they believe Ymir developed the land instead of conquering it, even though they can't read the documents. Bit of an important thing they're missing, but sure look. We're then introduced to Dinah Fritz, a descendant of the royal family, who tells them the king has the founding titan and they can use it to take out Marley. She also marries Grisha and they have a baby called Zeke. Learning that Marley planned to invade Paradis for resources, Grisha decides to make Zeke a warrior. Zeke then turns them all in, leading to them all being tortured. On top of the wall, the 2 guards from the day with the airship are there yet again. Grisha's comrades are turned, including Dinah, who becomes the smiling titan that ate Carla in a fantastic and cruelly ironic twist. It's revealed Eren is seeing this through his father's memories, and we get another reveal as one of the guards, Kruger, turns out to be an informant for the Restorationists, and pushes the other guard to his death and saves Grisha. Kruger then transforms into the Attack Titan and breaks the Marleyan ship. This episode answered a lot of questions, and as our first glance at the outside world, it's done so well. Plus, seeing that Grisha's ex-wife is the one that eats his future wife is insane. Number 17, Season 2, Episode 11, Charge. Look, you already know the main moment why this episode is so far up. We start with Ymir retreating with Historia in tow alongside a transformed Reiner, Bertolt, and an unconscious Eren. Ymir convinces Historia that she's only taken her with them to pardon herself from eating Marcel, which Historia agrees to, saying she's always on her side. The next moments are some of my favourites in the whole series. Historia tries to shield Ymir from Mikasa, but Mikasa tells her that there's only a certain amount of lives that she can afford to give a shit about. Then possibly my favourite line in the series, pick your side, Krista. Eren or the bitch I'm gonna kill. She's the GOAT, she just is. Then we get all the 104th reminiscing and pleading with Reiner and Bertolt, asking was the last few years of friendship and camaraderie just lies. Bertolt snaps, saying they did consider them friends, but they have no choice. They then realise the Horde of Titans are rushing them, causing them to fall back. Then in a scene that always gives me goosebumps, Erwin's arm is bitten by a Titan, but he doesn't falter, ordering everyone to advance, even while dangling from a Titan. What a guy. Armin then shows he's willing to abandon his humanity to rise above the monsters, as he cultivates a cruel lie that Annie is being tortured to provoke Bertolt. Once he bites, a one-armed Erwin rises up to slash Eren free. Historia then discovers Ymir was lying about her reasons for bringing her outside the walls as Reiner throws Titans. With Mikasa injured, her and Eren are left vulnerable, and of course the Titan that approaches them is the same one that ate Carla Jaeger 5 years ago. I mean, what an episode. Mikasa's promo and Erwin's resolve are enough to make this a top tier episode, let alone the conversation between the 104th, Armin's lie, and the Smiling Titan returning. Fantastic. Number 16, Season 4, Episode 26, Traitor. Back to Season 4 with this one as our group of heroes are considering how to save the flying boat. There's a good moment with Annie, where she muses that if the scouts were in her shoes years ago, they would never have broken the wall. Magat also comes full circle as he admits the current Eldians have done no wrong and apologizes. He also suggests to let him and the warriors handle the attack on the Jaegerists, but Armin refuses to stand by and watch. Armin and Connie then look to trick their old friends and get the flying boat going, which is guarded by Daz and Samuel. Mikasa saves Kiyomi while Floch labels her, Connie, and Armin traitors. overpowers, causing Samuel to pop Armin in the head. Reiner and Annie transform to fight, but the real gem of this episode is the ending. After Connie overpowers Samuel, he tries to wrestle his gun away. Samuel agonizingly wails to Connie he thought they were friends, as Armin has yet another terrifying frame over Daz. Berthold's words come to the fore again. Connie recalls him saying someone has to dirty their hands in this world. On this occasion, it's Connie, shooting Daz off Armin before killing Samuel beneath him. And the episode ends with Connie screaming in frustration and sadness at the death of his friends at his own hands. Number 15, Season 3, Episode 18, Midnight Sun. Drama at its finest. Eren stares at the burned body of his best friend in misery before Zeke and the cart show up. Zeke tells him that they're both victims of Grisha, to Eren's confusion. Zeke runs once he spots Levi though, who is looking to finish Erwin's order to eliminate him. Just as Levi asks for Eren's supplies to pursue, Armin takes a breath. Meanwhile, Reiner gives Hanji a letter to Historia from Ymir, and Mikasa is sent to Levi for the injection to take Reiner's power. It looks like Armin will get the syringe though, until Floch shows up unexpectedly with a somehow still breathing Erwin, while simultaneously, the cart and Zeke save Reiner from the scouts. Levi chooses to save Erwin, much to Eren and Mikasa's rage. Levi punches Eren, but Mikasa overpowers him, causing him and Floch to convince her that Erwin is the only person to save humanity. Floch admits Erwin dying would be too easy, and he wants him to endure hell for longer, and he's the devil that can beat evil. Eren protests that Armin has shown enough potential to be the one to be humanity's savior, but it's Hanji's words that are the final blow. They remind him of everyone they've lost so far, as well as every other scout, and they don't have the luxury to bring them back. We discover this includes Moblit, who sacrificed himself to save Hanji by pushing them into a well. Eren still won't give up though, telling Levi Armin's dream of the sea, and that Armin is the epitome of the hope in this world. Levi is still stuck on his decision, until Erwin deliriously raises his arm as if in the classroom, muttering the question he asked his father: how do we know there's no more humans outside the wall? Levi, recalling Kenny's words of people are always drunk on something, decides to release Erwin from his life as a devil, and to finally let him rest. Berthold comes through and finds himself about to be eaten by a now Titan Armin, and there's a quick shot that I love where in his fear, Berthold sees the scouts and quickly smiles, as if he forgot recent events and thought, oh, they're here, they'll save me, before reality sets in and he's eaten while crying out for Reiner and Annie. The character moments here are just off the scale, every moment done amazing between the interactions and the makeup of what seems like an impossible choice, and a heartbreaking farewell to one of the best characters in the series in Erwin. Number 14, Season 3, Episode 16, Perfect Game. My Soldier's Rage. If you can watch this episode without getting goosebumps, you're not human, I'm sorry. Starting off, we see Armin immediately freezing in his leadership role, asking Jean to take over. Good old pre-skip Armin. The Beast Titan also starts to make his move, throwing boulders of smashed rock at the scouts, shredding them apart in a bloody mist. All that remains are Levi, Erwin, and the fresh recruits. Our friends in the 104th are struggling against the Colossal Titan, while Levi suggests distracting the Beast to allow Erwin and Eren to retreat, believing they give humanity its best chance. Erwin then admits to Levi he has a plan, but it would mean sacrificing his dream of finding the truth in the basement, as he would have to lead the recruits to death. There's a great moment where Erwin asks Levi can he still see their fallen comrades too, as their memories stand surrounding the two. Levi makes the choice instead, and tells Erwin to lead the crew into hell, and give up on his dream, while he takes down the Beast by using the Titans that surround it. Then it's speech time. Erwin gives the recruits their orders. They take it poorly at first, believe it or not, but Erwin rallies. Though they may think their deaths meaningless, they are not, as no death from a scout before them was ever meaningless. Their sacrifices here will allow humanity to survive and expand while they let their dreams go. Creating a smokescreen, Erwin leads the charge. My soldiers rage. My soldiers scream. My soldiers fight. The boulders rip through, one skewering Erwin as the episode ends. Heartbreaking, inspiring, so many emotions every time watching this one. The speech is also a top 5 scene in the whole show, the beta wall. Number 13, Season 4, Episode 28, The Dawn of Humanity. Speaking of feelings, this episode definitely hits you in them. It's the final episode of the old episodic formula before the final chapters were released as TV specials, movies, and then finally back to episodic. As the rumbling continues, Mikasa starts to wonder if Eren actually changed at all, or was he always this cold and she was just blind to it. We flash back to the scouts' first ever arrival in Marley in a heartwarming moment where they're experiencing the outside world. I miss you, Sasha. Mikasa does not notice Eren's closed off, only perking up when Armin reminds him they are across the sea. After a run-in with a kid pickpocket, they meet with Kiyomi, who tells them Eldians are still very hated by almost everyone. Mikasa, noticing Eren slipped out, finds him looking at the migrant camp where the pickpocketer from earlier was. Noticing a tear leaking from Eren's eye, Mikasa asks what happened, but Eren just says, "Nothing yet." Oh, those poor kids. Eren then presses Mikasa, asking why she cares for him so much. Mikasa awkwardly stammers that it's because they're family. No, Mikasa, wrong answer. Then there's a funny bit where an elderly man is suddenly standing between them, and our could have been couple end up getting hammered with the migrant camp as well as the rest of their friends who caught up with them. After a meeting the next day where a group claiming to be looking to help the subjects of Ymir blames all the issues on Paradis Island, Eren has had enough and leaves, letting the scouts know he's moving forward with Zeke as Mikasa questions if she could have changed anything with a different answer. We then switch to Eren's perspective. We see him tell Yelena he'll proceed with Zeke, but also telling Floch it's a ruse to destroy all their enemies. There's also a rare sight of Season 4 Historia, where Eren warns her the MPs want her to be a Titan and eat Zeke, but he won't allow it even if she will. He also confides his rumbling plans, which Historia strongly opposes, but Eren insists it's the only way to end the war, and he'll erase her memory afterwards to help her live with it more in peace. We also see Eren asking Zeke what's the deal with Ackerman headaches, where he answers there's no correlation, and she just likes him, proving Eren lied to her earlier to drive her away. As he now admits, even if he only has 4 years to live, he wants his friends to live long, happy lives. The defense against the Wall Titans proves futile, as Eren recalls his promise the day his mother died. He will destroy every last enemy. We finally get the steps of Eren's plan and see how he managed to put all the pieces together, while also seeing Mikasa's anguish of thinking she could have made a difference with a different answer. A great episode that revolves around the central characters from day one. Number 12, Season 4, Episode 5, Declaration of War. Oh man, I bet everyone thought this was going to be this high up, and it deserves it. Eren, with an already wounded hand by the way, sits Reiner down to have a nice, innocent, surely not important conversation. Eren tells Reiner he's here because he has no choice, much like Reiner all those years ago, to his terror, and Falco puts it together that Reiner and the person he helped meet him must have met on Paradis. Meanwhile, an undercover Yelena, who I swore was Armin when I first saw her, manages to trap Porco and Peak, while Willy Tybur admits to people it was King Fritz that stopped the original Titan War and renounced violence in collaboration with the Tyburs. But now the founder lies outside the bloodline, the vow is now void. Eren apologizes to Falco for tricking him into sending letters to his comrades, and admits to Reiner he came here to destroy Liberia, but he wanted to hear from Reiner why his mother was killed. Reiner explains the reasoning: to infiltrate during the chaos and take back the founder. Eren tells Reiner after spending so much time with him, he understands that he was just taught those on Paradis are devils. Reiner breaks down, admitting after Marcel's death, Annie and Bertolt wanted to turn back, but he wanted to be a hero and continued the mission. He claims it was all his fault and he wants Eren to kill him. Just as Willy asks the audience to band together to eliminate their enemies, Eren tells Reiner that they are the same, and he will keep moving forward until his enemies are dead. Eren transforms as Willy spouts a declaration of war, and Reiner dives to protect Falco. The tension in this episode is crazy. The juxtaposition of the calm conversation between Reiner and Eren while Tybur is asking for a rally to murder an island of people is fantastic, and we get another really clear view of Reiner's broken psyche. Number 11, Season 4, Episode 22, Thaw. The walls have crumbled, the Titans are marching, and the world's in chaos. This is AOT, alright? Eren tells all subjects of Ymir he's crushing the outside world, much to the Eldians on Marley's fear, while Reiner begins to give up. Now his Titan armor is stripped. Jean tries to justify Eren's actions, noting how he was provoked to this by being seen as a devil and that he protected them from the euthanasia plan and from Historia being a Titan. He also suggests feeding Falco to Pixis to return him back to normal, but Connie refuses and demands to save his mother instead. Armin protests, but Connie reminds him that he's only alive because he ate Bertolt and that his mother deserves the same. Fair point, Connie. Meanwhile, Gabi saves Kaya from a Titan, an uncanny representation of the day where Sasha saved her. Kaya and Niccolo cover for Gabi, much to her confusion. Gabi realizes she was wrong for labeling Kaya a devil, and it was her all along, but Niccolo corrects her, rightly saying that there's a devil inside everyone. Keith saves the cadets who beat his ass earlier, as Armin, Jean and Mikasa lead the charge to eliminate all the Titans left, including Pixis, who Armin thanks and acknowledges they wouldn't have gotten this far without him. Mikasa and Armin meet up with the Browses and Gabi, who begs them to save Falco and talk to Eren to convince him to only destroy the military bases. She says it must be possible since Reiner lost his armor when the walls fell, leading Armin to a conclusion that is soon proven true. Annie, is now free again. This is the episode where we see Gabby fully complete her character development, cementing herself as one of the best written characters in the show. Still, fuck Gabby. Also, Pixis' death hit me hard. R.I.P. my boy. Plus, Annie unfreezing caught me off guard because I genuinely forgot she existed with everything else going on. Great episode. Number 10. Final Chapters. Chapter 2. Sinners. Top 10 time, baby. And the debut of the final chapters that felt like they took 20 years to come out. We're skipping to part 2. Armin is trying to figure out where Aaron's body could be located within the Founder's body, wanting to talk first before essentially blowing him up with the Colossal, while Levi swears he'll find and kill Zeke within the Founder. As the scouts and warriors bond over the fact they've sacrificed so many to be here, Reiner muses if Aaron actually wants them to stop him, since he hasn't removed their Titan powers. Aaron then takes them to the paths and reveals he won't stop the rumbling, but he won't take away their powers, as that would be impending their freedom, which is an unforgivable sin for Aaron. His friends see a child version of him and try to run to him, but they just loop around and see him standing beside the Founder Ymir. Aaron reveals he will not entertain a talk, and if they want to stop him, they'll have to kill him. Meanwhile, Kiyomi regrets putting her clan's needs first instead of the world's, and Falco reveals to Annie he saw a memory of him flying due to Zeke's spinal fluid, and he believes he can transform and do it. On Fort Salta in Marley, airships are about to bomb the Titans, as the Marleyans and honorary Eldians, namely Reiner's mother, finally realize their mistake of cultivating the hate towards the subjects of Ymir through their children and their community. Aaron is able to replicate a Beast Titan to take out the airships as the flying boat emerges and our heroes jump onto Aaron. Reiner and Pieck already in Titan form, while Armin is wondering in what way is Aaron possibly free. Though not as good as the other parts of the final chapter specials, this is still great. The Marleyans finally realize their wrongdoing just when they're about to die. Good timing, lads. Plus we get our last pieces of hope dashed. Aaron doesn't want to talk, and there's no way that both he and his friends will both survive. It's one or the other, and that really hits me hard. Where is the Naruto talk no jutsu when you actually want it? Number 9. Final Chapters, Chapter 3. The Battle of Heaven and Earth. Straight in, no kissing on this one. After realizing the Beast Titan was an empty husk, Armin looks to transform and blow up this bitch, but he's captured and prevented transforming by another Titan while the Founder Ymir watches. The rest of the crew are forced to battle the past generations of the 9 Titans, who prevent Pieck blowing up Aaron's Titan's neck. Armin realizes his predicament is probably down to Ymir rather than Aaron, and she wants the destruction of humanity, while Reiner is getting manhandled and has to be saved by Jean. Jean refuses to drop Reiner, saying that they're scouts at the end of the day. I love this moment, as it means so much to Reiner that Jean sees him as a comrade once again. A rare fuzzy moment, especially this late in the series. Mikasa keeps fighting, and we see an amazing shot of her with a huge pair of wings behind her. I remember people thinking this was some Ackerman power when it was in the trailer, but no, it's Bird Falco. No, not from Star Fox, from Marley. Falcon Falco, and he has Gabby and Annie with him before scooping up all the scouts for safety. Turns out his transformation sunk the Azumabito ship, but hey, he's a bird. Mikasa is still unwilling to accept that Eren must be killed, so Annie tells her to focus on Armin, while the rest will take care of Eren. Now, all of them aware that he must die. Annie transforms, while Connie and Mikasa look to save Armin, just as Armin realizes he has slipped back into the paths, where he finds Zeke. This chapter is all action, but it still has a lot of great character moments. The Jean and Reiner moment always makes me smile, and the shot of Mikasa with Falco behind her is amazing. While on the opposite side, everyone other than Mikasa realizing they need to kill Eren makes me sad. I don't want any of these characters to die. Why does Sasha even have to die? Fuck Gabby. Number 8. Season 2, Episode 6. Warrior. Yeah, we all know this one. When I think of Attack on Titan, this is the first episode that pops into my head, and I'm sure I'm not alone on that one. But let's get into it. Historia defends Ymir, saying she's a friend of humanity despite hiding her Titan powers, and confirms she herself is a member of the Rice family. Reiner is on the edge of a breakdown as he recounts his near misses, before Bertolt perks them both back up by saying they should return home, very enthusiastically. Hannes arrives saying there was no breach anywhere along the wall and they saw no Titans, leading Eren to understandably question his sobriety. Stumped at the revelation, Hanji calls a retreat, while Reiner pulls Eren for a chat. I'm sure it won't be anything important. While Hanji discusses whether there could be a digging Titan in the foreground, Reiner admits he's the armored Titan and that Bertolt is the Colossal in the background, in one of my favourite reveals in anything ever. I honestly had to rewind 2 or 3 times because I was sure I misheard it. I couldn't believe it. Reiner wants to take Eren to his hometown. Eren recalls 12 hours earlier when Hanji learned Reiner and Bertolt are from the same hometown as Annie. Bit of an oversight to their plans in case one of them got caught, the rest would be easy to track, but I digress. After piecing a few things together, Armin recalls when the female Titan first attacked, she changed direction just after seemingly grabbing Reiner. Armin realizes Reiner must have carved Eren's supposed location into Annie's hand, convincing them Reiner and Annie are working together. Eren plays it off as Reiner losing his mind, and Reiner agrees, saying he's been surrounded by idiots for too long, and if he hadn't got to know them, he wouldn't have turned out like he is now. He reveals his healing arm wound, confirming his Titan power, as Bertolt questions, is now really the time? Mikasa suddenly attacks the pair, slashing them but not killing them, and they transform as Eren is shocked and frozen in betrayal. The Colossal grabs Ymir while the Armored grabs Eren, who through his tears recalls his training and good times with Reiner and Bertolt before transforming and damning them as traitors. Oh, what an episode. The music, the ambiance, the setting, that reveal, it literally has everything. This episode is consistently placed among the greatest in the series, and they're right, goddammit. It deserves it, and it's the best episode of Season 2. Number 7, Season 4, Episode 19. Two Brothers. Oh, what a nice title. I'm sure this will be a happy, wholesome episode. Oh wait, it's AOT. Eren tries to come into contact with Zeke, but is hindered by Porco and Reiner. The former receiving a memory from his brother explaining why Reiner was chosen as the Armored. Colt begs Zeke not to use the scream, as Falco will turn into a Titan as well. Zeke is genuinely saddened and sympathetic hearing this, saying he knows what it's like to care for a brother, but he screams anyway. Colt refuses to leave his brother as he transforms, killing him. R.I.P. Colt, you were a great guy. Zeke tells Falco to attack Reiner, who's unable to hold off both him and Eren, before Zeke's nape is sniped by Magat, but he's not able to capitalize due to Mikasa and Armin attacking him. Reiner refuses to kill Falco, and instead contemplates letting Falco eat him instead to save him. As he's about to follow through with it, Falco jumps off him and instead rushes to a now human Porco. Unable to heal himself anymore, Galliard now knows that his brother protected him by influencing the decision to make Reiner a warrior. Porco is devoured by Falco, now affirmed in his belief that he was always better than Reiner. Reiner attacks Eren again, but he escapes and runs towards Zeke, who is feigning death. But then Eren gets shot and decapitated by who else other than Gabi. Fuck Gabi. This moment definitely shocked me, but not as much as I thought it should, because this is now the second time we see Eren quote unquote die. We see a flashback of Eren agreeing to go along with Zeke's euthanasia plan, condemning what his father did and not catching a baseball. No hands. Zeke has though, as in the present, he catches Eren's dismembered head and they emerge in the paths where the founder can be used. Zeke, in chains, introduces Eren to the founder Ymir and explains this is where their bodies can be repaired and where she makes Titans. Zeke asks Eren to tell Ymir to put an end to the Eldian bloodline, but Eren finally admits that was never his intention and he lied to get here, and asks Ymir for her power. However, Ymir completely ignores Eren, and it turns out Zeke was pulling a ruse too, as he chained himself, and it's revealed that Ymir is a slave with no will to those of royal blood, i.e. Zeke. Zeke now has the power of the founder without the vow to renounce war due to Eren entering the paths with him. Zeke blames Grisha for Eren's true feelings and says he will change Eren using the founder. This episode packs a lot in it. There's Eren's shocking apparent death for the second time, even if it only lasts a few seconds until we find out who's alive. Same with Zeke getting sniped. We finally see the founder Ymir also. But my favourite moments are Colt refusing to leave Falco and Galliard's sacrifice. They just hit so hard and leaves a real lasting impression for two characters that never really stood out until now, but their deaths mean we'd never forget them. Number 6. Final Chapters. Chapter 5. Towards the Tree on That Hill. It feels weird placing this here. It feels low, but I also can't justify putting it higher. Then again, it's the final part of our AOT story. I don't know. We start with one of my favourite scenes of the series. A kid version of Eren and Armin are having a discussion of how we got to where we are. I love how salty Armin is about getting kneed by Eren a few episodes back, and how sheepish and regretful Eren is for doing it, admitting it was just to push him and Mikasa away. Eren reveals he wants to set Armin and the rest up as heroes who stepped in so the world will not view them as enemies anymore. The two visit places of the outside world, including a volcano where Eren explains that the founder Ymir was in love with King Fritz despite everything, and it was Mikasa that eventually truly freed her. This was the outcome Eren wanted ever since the medal ceremony 4 years ago, where he saw the vision. Eren admits he's losing his mind, as he doesn't see things as past or future, but instead simultaneously. He recounts moments that he had to make sure happened, most shockingly, making the Smiling Titan bypass Bertolt the day Walmaria fell, and having it eat his mother instead to ensure this outcome would be reached. Now adults at the sea, Armin questions if Mikasa can really forget Eren. After Eren pretends to be apathetic, his friend gives him a good slap, which causes Eren to tearfully tell the truth, that he doesn't want Mikasa to forget about him, or see anyone else. He just wants her to think of him, his true feelings finally revealed. Armin asks for Eren to find another way, but Eren refuses, saying he's sure 80% of the world didn't want to die either. That's right people, the rumbling killed 80% of the world's population. Eren claims he can see no other way to save his friends, saying he's just an ordinary idiot with an extraordinary power. Armin finds a shell in the bloody water, the same one from when they first reached the sea, and takes responsibility for showing Eren the book for the outside world, playing a hand in setting Eren's path. He mentions they'll be friends forever in hell, a sentiment that touches Eren. The two hug as Eren tells Armin he'll erase this conversation from his memory until after Eren is dead. Armin returns to the present, discovering this conversation took place on the boat to Odiha. Mikasa approaches Armin, Eren's head in her arms, causing Armin to break down over the fact his best friend is now dead and gone. The rest of Eren's friends recount their own conversations with Eren, that he has since erased, as well as seeing fallen comrades. Levi gives Erwin, Hanji, and his other fallen comrades a final salute, as Jean and Connie say goodbye to a smiling Sasha. Fuck Gabby, though her and Falco have a very nice moment here too. Mikasa goes to leave, but sees Amir once more, this time as an adult, before she shows a glimpse of her with her children, and then the four fade away. 3 years later, Armin, Jean, Connie, Reiner, Annie, and Peak are heading to Paradis to visit Historia, despite being seen as traitors for killing Eren. Jean blames Eren for forcing them to be symbols of peace, whereas Reiner is still thirsting over Historia. Some things never change. In Shiganshina, Mikasa is sitting beside Eren's grave, which is under the tree they played at as kids. She mentions their friends will be visiting soon. After recalling how Eren would always nap under the tree, Mikasa breaks down, wanting to see him again more than anything. A bird then flies to Mikasa and rewraps her scarf around her, just like Eren always promised to do in the season 2 finale. Now smiling, she thanks Eren, her spirits lifted. Over the years, Mikasa continues to visit her lost love alongside her friends. We then see later on that Mikasa is also buried by Eren's side, followed by a montage of technology improving and war continuing and evolving until the island looks in ruins, and a boy and his dog enter into the hole at the bottom of the tree where Eren once slept. Now I remember when this ending first came out in the manga and people hated it, like really hated it. I know they changed some stuff from the manga in the anime, but people still hated it. I don't get it. I really like this as an ending. It gave every character a fitting end, I think. It's the ending Eren deserved after causing the genocide, but still doesn't ruin him as he's an amazing character. Armin's conversation with Eren is great. I especially love them talking as kids. It's a nice throwback. The final goodbyes from the scouts to their dead loved ones made me tear up, and I love how Eren gave each of his friends their own conversation memory. Mikasa laying under the tree beside the boy she loves is heartbreaking, but the bird tying her scarf leaves both us and her in a positive mood. Plus, Eren's conversation to Armin that he's just an idiot is relatable. As a fellow idiot myself, I couldn't figure out how to save the world leader in his position. It's a fitting end for a series such as Attack on Titan, and left me satisfied, and that's all I could ask for. There's just a couple better episodes. Finally, R.I.P. Eren, the boy who just wanted to be free. Number 5, Season 3, Episode 17, Hero. Top 5 time, and we're starting off with the best episode of Season 3, which is really saying something considering how great the season was. We start with Zeke flinging boulders at the remaining scouts, killing all, including Marlowe, whose last thoughts were of a sleeping Hitch. Zeke then realizes the Titans by his side were killed before being ambushed by Levi. Levi systematically destroys the Beast Titan, causing Zeke to recall Reiner's warning of a single soldier capable of destroying them. After Levi takes out the Beast single-handedly, he ponders if any scouts are still alive who can eat Zeke, but before he can find out, the cart appears and takes Zeke back. The remaining Titans are ordered to take out Levi, who's hell-bent on completing Erwin's last order, before we find out that there was a scout survivor. Everyone's favourite character, Floch. Back with our good friends at the 104th, Armin has a plan. Who'd have thought? Armin and Eren will take on the Colossal, who, Armin notices, has gotten a lot thinner after releasing steam, while the rest distract the armoured. Jean's group tries to distract Reiner, but Mikasa learns it won't work as they'll have to kill him instead. Meanwhile, Armin promises Eren that he'll make it through their plan, reminding Eren that he never lied to him before. You manipulative bastard. Eren slips off the wall as Armin flies at the Colossal's face, making Bertolt release a load of steam. Armin anchored himself to the Colossal's teeth to avoid being blown away by the steam. Bertolt, surprised that this was Armin's best plan, decides to make it quick and increases the heat, burning away his clothes, hair, and skin. Armin entrusts his dream of seeing the sea to Eren, before finally losing consciousness and falling away. Back with the other group, Connie and a returning still alive Hanji causes Reiner's jaw to dislocate, allowing Mikasa to fire a Thunder Spear down his throat and blast him out of his Titan. With Armin now dismissed, Bertolt realizes that it was all a distraction, as Eren has left his Titan, and he slices Bertolt free the old-fashioned way with his ODM gear. As Eren drags Bertolt behind him, he muses that he should have known Armin was planning something, remembering how Armin would never run from bullies as kids, calling that the true victory. To this day, Armin doesn't run, and we and Eren see the result of that, as Eren comes across the burned husk of his best friend, Eren calling him more of a hero than anyone else. Look, when I say an episode has everything, this is the type of episode I mean. Great action between Reiner and the scouts as well as Levi and the Beast. The heartbreaking start bookmarked by Armin's sacrifice at the end. I'm not a guy that gets really emotional watching TV shows, but there was 3 moments in AOT that made me at least tear up. When the scouts gave their final salutes in the final chapter specials, one moment we'll talk about later, and the third was Armin's sacrifice here. I predicted at the start of season 3 that I thought Armin was going to die before they reached the sea, but I was hoping I was wrong. Turns out I was, but it didn't feel like it here, as this episode was the first one that really tortured my emotions, and that's the best compliment you can give a piece of media. Number 4. Final Chapters, Chapter 4. A Long Dream. All four's here, and after 10 years, this is where we finally see Eren's journey come to an end. We start in the past, Zeke explaining to Armin how life is constantly evolving, explaining Ymir did the same, finding a bigger, stronger body and living in a world where death doesn't exist, i.e. the paths. Zeke realizes that though he never understood why Ymir kept her vow to King Fritz for 2000 years, Eren did, and that's why she sided with him. Zeke is starting to give up on life, wondering what was the point, while Armin finds a leaf in the sand. It reminds him of his memories of racing Eren and Mikasa to the tree, thinking in that moment he thought he was born just so he could play with his friends. Instead of a leaf in Armin's hand, Zeke sees a baseball, reminding him of his games of catch with Sauber. This is where he realizes, though the games were basically pointless, they were not meaningless. That's when they are joined by Sauber, Grisha, Kruger, the Galliard brothers, and our good old scout friend Ymir. Back in the heat of battle, our scouts are helped by the husks of all Titan forms of those that appeared in the paths, as well as Bertolt's, allowing them to finally free Armin, as well as another snipe from Gabi. Fuck Gabi. Armin reveals it was Zeke that allowed the Titans to help them, as Eren's brother emerges from a piece of spine. He calls to Levi, and admires the beautiful day, wishing he could have enjoyed it sooner, right before Levi beheads him, finally fulfilling his last request from Erwin. Now that Zeke is dead, the Wall Titans have stopped, but Eren doesn't, so Jean explodes the founding Titan's nape, calling him a suicidal maniac one final time. As the head separates, a glowing centipede-like thing appears, and Armin transforms in order to stop both it and Eren, bidding his friend farewell. Both survive though, Eren now in a new form, and it becomes apparent they both can't come into contact or the rumbling may start again. So Levi orders to focus on taking out Eren. Annie also finally reunites with her father. The source of all life centipede thing starts letting off a mist that the crew puts together will likely turn them to Titans. So Levi grabs Mikasa and Pieck and throws them on Falco, as they're the only ones immune as Titan shifters and Ackermans respectively. We get a really nice moment with Connie and Jean, brothers in arms, as the mist approaches and eventually turns them into Titans. Mikasa's headache gets worse, and all she wants to do is go back to a home where it can just be her and Eren. So she does. She wakes at a cabin, just her and Eren. Eren asks why she's crying, recalling episode 1 where roles were reversed, and she admits it feels like she shouldn't be here. Eren tells her they have no choice. They ran away, fleeing Marley after he couldn't accept making Historia a Titan or committing genocide outside the walls. This is finally the reveal of what would have happened if Mikasa had answered Eren differently back at the migrant camp. The pair would have ran away and lived the final 4 years of Eren's life in peace. Mikasa agrees happily, before Eren makes her promise him that she'll throw the scarf away, forget about him, and live happily, while his Titan markings appear around his eyes. Back in reality, Eren and Armin are still fighting in Titan form, as Mikasa tightens her scarf, declaring she'll never forget Eren, and revealing Eren is in the Titan mouth. Levi opens the mouth with a thunder spear, allowing Mikasa to enter, where she smiles at her love before beheading him, cradling his head and kissing him, as the founder Ymir watches on. Oh man, so much happened here. Zeke and Armin's conversation rounded Zeke off so well as a character. Seeing all the old Titan forms was so cool, and Levi finally managed to make sure Erwin's soul could rest in peace. As well as that, the Jean and Connie moment always hits me in the feels, and we're cruelly shown a glimpse at what could have been with Eren and Mikasa living together happily in love. Mikasa finally accepting what has to be done and doing it with a smile, while also vowing she'll never forget the boy that gave her the will to live. Amazing way to wrap up the story until now. Number 3. Season 4, Episode 21. From You, 2000 years ago. The name of this episode is enough to let you know that it was going to be a god tier episode. Remember the first episode title? Yeah, it's finally come full circle. After getting kicked from Grisha's memories, Zeke realizes it was Eren that influenced Grisha to take the Founder and only gave Grisha specific memories in order to make him entrust everything to Eren. Eren thanks Zeke for letting him see his father's memories, after already seeing his own future 4 years ago. Zeke remains steadfast, remembering their father wanted Zeke to stop Eren, and that Eren didn't know everything as he thought he could control the Founder Ymir. Instead, it's Zeke who tells Ymir to make sure the Eldians can no longer have children. Eren rips his own hands off in his chains, possibly one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the show, and runs to stop Ymir, but Zeke says it's futile, calling her a slave that can only obey. We then get the devastating backstory of the Founder Ymir. As a young girl, she was kidnapped, enslaved, and her tongue cut out. She was then scapegoated by her own people and punished by King Fritz, as she was hunted by men in the woods. Wounded, she enters a hollow in a tree, where she falls into water and comes into contact with the centipede creature that turns her into the Founding Titan. Now, of course, she's treated as a huge commodity, building roads for Fritz's tribe and conquering Marley. Her reward? She will be the one to bear Fritz's children. Yikes. They have 3 daughters, and due to her power, the tribe became a kingdom. When a captured soldier tries to assassinate Fritz, Ymir jumps in the way, saving her husband. He commands her to get up, but she does not, instead choosing to die. In another extremely uncomfortable scene, we see their 3 daughters consume the body of Ymir at Fritz's command, saying when they have children to do the same, so Eldia's dominance can continue. Remember this part of the ending from Season 2? Yeah, we finally got the answer for that. Oh, and guess what Ymir's daughters' names were? Maria, Rose, and Sina. The same as the walls on Paradis. ECM can cook, man, I'm telling you. As the Eldian Empire continues, Ymir is in the paths constantly making titans for her ancestors, and will do for all eternity. That is until Eren wraps an arm around her. She halts for the first time as he tells her she's not a slave or a god, but a person. She is able to choose what she does. She can choose to free herself. Zeke panics and runs to them as Eren asks if Ymir was the one who brought him here, and if she was waiting 2,000 years for him to free her. We then get one of my favourite shots as a tearfully enraged Ymir trembles in Eren's arms. The first shot of her eyes we've seen, and it will always stick in my mind. Back in the real world, it appears the centipede creature is there now and connects Eren's head to his body, and the walls crumble. The wall titans are free, and the rumbling has started. Eren then pulls every subject of Ymir into the paths, saying in order to protect those on Paradis, he will kill every living person across the world, setting his genocide in action. I mean, I was debating whether to put this at 4 or 3, but after reflecting, it's definitely top 3. Ymir's backstory is amazing yet devastating. The callbacks to moments shown or foreshadowed earlier in the series that we didn't know what the hell they were at the time was done so well. I love Eren telling Ymir she doesn't have to be a slave anymore. If she wants to make the world burn, then fuck it, do it. It's just hard to sum up. It's just an incredible episode start to finish. But believe it or not, it's not even the best episode of Season 4. Number 2. Season 4, Episode 20. Memories of the Future. Now, I'm sure everyone expected this episode to be this high up on the list, but I imagine a lot of people thought it would be number 1. And I can't blame anyone for thinking that, trust me, it was so close to the 1 spot. Zeke takes Eren through Grisha's memories, looking to convince Eren his father only saw him as a tool. He shows him Grisha using his doctor status to get the people of power to try and discover the real king. Grisha discovers the church and its cavern, while Eren is still a toddler, surprising both his kids, since he doesn't steal the power until the day Wall Maria falls. To Zeke's surprise though, he sees Grisha treating Eren as a son. He's even more surprised to see that Grisha still remembers Zeke after he glimpses him in his memories. Zeke is now fully confused at why Eren betrayed him, seeing he was raised as normally as anyone. When they visit the memory where Eren saved Mikasa from the bandits, Eren explains to Zeke he was born how he is, not brainwashed into being it. If someone wants to take his freedom, he'll take theirs first, and he's not the weak little brother that Zeke wanted. Zeke, still in denial, wants to save Eren before the world. When they visit the memory from the very first episode where Grisha questions why Eren wants to be a scout, he's instead looking at the present day Eren. Next memory is in the cavern under the church the day Wall Maria fell. Grisha begs Frieda to stop the Titans, but she insists that they must pay for their sins and face destruction, much like Zeke believes. Remembering that Eren told him this memory disgusted him, Zeke turns to Eren, but instead finds an intense look on Eren's face that proves the opposite. You know the one. Frieda says she won't allow anyone outside the walls to die, and that Eldians alone need to suffer. But Grisha, sensing Eren's rage, doesn't accept it. He explains to Frieda he possesses the Attack Titan, a titan that will never bend its will to anyone, and was made to fight the king's foolishness. He claims he will take the founder and end the bloodline, but he can't. He sees the children and he hesitates. Zeke watches on in confusion as Eren approaches their father. And here is the biggest plot twist in the entire show. In fact, one of the best plot twists in anime in general. Eren tells Grisha to stand. He reminds him what he's here to do. He reminds him of Faye, Dinah, his comrades, and reminds him he started this, so he has to finish it. And he does. He kills the Rice family and takes the founder. Grisha wails in despair after killing all except Rod, wondering why Eren only showed the wall falling and not if Carla is safe. Grisha can feel Zeke's presence and tells him he won't win. Eren will get his way, and it will be terrible having seen it. Grisha then can finally see Zeke and embraces him, apologizing for being a terrible father and telling him he loves him. Zeke tearfully calls Grisha father as he finally feels love from Grisha for the first time. Grisha begs Zeke to stop Eren, who is staring intensely at Zeke. They are shot back to the paths, and though he's in chains, Eren looks calm and in control, while Zeke looks panicked. Look, this episode definitely revolves around the twist, but that's not all that's in it. Great character interactions between the three family members. Zeke being shocked and hurt that Eren was treated as a son while he wasn't. Grisha being regretful over how he treated his first son and trying to make up for it with Eren. And finally, we're shown that Eren was the true driving force behind everything all along. He wasn't just given the power of the Founding Titan by luck. He was the one that drove his father to get it and give it to him, so he could tear down his enemies and get his idea of freedom. This is the best episode of Season 4, one of the best episodes of any anime I've seen. Believe it or not the number one entry on this list, which I'm sure you've guessed by now. Number 1. Final Chapters. Chapter 1. The Rumbling. Is this too high for some people? Maybe. Do I care? Not at all. This episode is a roller coaster and from my mind deserves this number 1 spot more than any other. Need a refresher? Oh, I got you. We start in Marley, where the pickpocket, Ramsey, is showing his brother all he stole so far in order to help the camp, though it came at the cost of his hand. People run past, and as the boys start to re-hide it, they notice the rumbling. We then flash back to Eren's first visit to Liberia, already knowing everyone here will die at his hand, though he does take a moment to wonder what his mother would think. Nice to remember Carla in the last special of Attack on Titan. Eren then spots Ramsey getting roughed up. He hesitates helping him as he'll just end up dead down the line, but Eren intervenes anyway. When Eren brings Ramsey to his camp, Eren breaks down in tears and apologizes for what he's going to do. He says the world outside the walls has disappointed him. He wanted it to be different, and now all he could do was destroy it. Ramsey, his brother, and everyone else fleeing is then crushed by the Titans, showing us just how destructive the rumbling will be. As Eren marches, he remembers the book Armin showed him of the outside world, and how he thought whoever could stand above the walls and see it would be the freest man in the world. Now all he sees are dead bodies. His inner child is enjoying the freedom though, and he pulls Armin into the paths to ask if he agrees. As we talked about earlier, this is when he told Armin his true intentions and feelings before immediately erasing them. We then get a cute moment between Armin and Annie where Annie thanks Armin for talking to her in the crystal, as it was only him and Hitch that did so, and the two blush awkwardly trying to figure out their own and each other's feelings. When they arrive in Odiha, Annie informs Mikasa she's lost the will to fight and won't continue. Mikasa also figures out Annie's feelings for Armin, even though she couldn't figure out Eren's or her own for like 10 years. But I digress. She also tells Annie that Armin is coming with them to stop Eren. Annie then asks Mikasa if she'll kill Eren, which she denies, saying she just wants to bring him back. Yelena meanwhile still believes that Zeke's plan would have been the best option, and at this stage, Hanji even agrees after seeing how things turned out, while Pete convinces Kiyomi to take Falco and Gabby with her on her ship. Fuck Gabby. The next morning, Levi adjusts to his trusty gear with his new lack of fingers, while Reiner apologizes to Annie for forcing her through their mission to breach the walls before bidding her farewell. Then there's a really funny moment where Pieck and Reiner affirm they'll go with the scouts, and Hanji asks to ride the cart, but Pieck denies it outright. Good to see Hanji's love for Titans hasn't disappeared. This is AOT though, remember, and the good times don't last long. And who better to ruin the moment than everyone's favourite character, Floch. He somehow was dragged along through the water by the boat and he emerges really sneakily, which was very well done, to shoot wildly and manage to hit the fuel tank of the flying boat before Mikasa kills him. In order to make a temporary patch to the fuel tank, someone will have to stay behind to slow down the Titans. Armin and Reiner both volunteer, but Hanji knows they can't lose any more Titan power and insists on staying behind themselves. As the leader to this point, they will take responsibility. Before they do, they name Armin as the next commander of the scouts and tell him to make Levi's life hell since he's now his subordinate. Hanji walks past Levi, saying they've always wanted a cool exit and it's now their turn. Still giddy at the idea of seeing so many huge Titans up close, Levi, for the first time, tells them to dedicate their heart. A moment not lost on Hanji. Hanji is able to buy enough time for the flying boat to refuel partly and take off. They take out the foremost Titans, marveling at how beautiful the creatures are as they fly around taking out as many as they can. Soon, Due to the sheer heat of the Titans, their cloak and body is engulfed by flames and they drop to the ground dead, with Levi saying a final farewell from the escaped plane. We see one more shot of Hanji as they awake in a world full of their old comrades. They lambast Erwin for leaving them with so much work and responsibilities as Key and Sasha watch the plane fly off safely. Erwin smiles and tells Hanji they should tell them all about it. Oh man, I don't even know what to say about this one. First of all, some fire moments. The start kicks you in the dick immediately with Ramsey and Erin's tearful apology. Armin and Annie acting like confused teenagers with a crush is cute, but also makes sense because that's literally what they are. A rare moment of common realism in a crazy world. Flock's final act of defiance, dying, trying to make sure the plan he believes in has the best possible odds of working. But the moment that really pushes this to the top is Hanji's sacrifice. I said earlier that the best moments of media are the ones that make you feel, whether it's making you smile as wide as possible or ripping your heart out and stamping on it. This was the latter. When I said there were 3 moments in AOT that made me tear up, this was the third, and by far hit me the hardest, causing tears to spill out. Hanji's going out with a smile, living their dreams so the others could survive. The rest of the cast crying and screaming as they watch. Levi's stoic realization that this is how they wanted to go, and giving them a final salute. The music through the scene, the reunion with Erwin in the afterlife as they watch their successors is also tragically beautiful. Hanji isn't my favourite character in the show. I'm not even sure if they're even in the top 5, but in this moment it doesn't matter. All that matters is that when they finally combust and fall, my heart plummets with them. And that's what pushes this episode to the top. It made me feel the most out of any episode, and that for me is what makes The Rumbling the best episode of Attack on Titan. God, that was a lot of yapping. I'll be honest, this is my first ever attempt at a long form video, and I'll admit I don't know a whole lot about editing or audio mixing and all that, so it may not be the best quality video on YouTube, but I promise, I did my best. I don't know how many views this video will even get, if at all any, but even if one person out there clicks on it and makes it this far, I really appreciate it. And if you want to like, comment or subscribe, that's more than I can even hope for, so you'd be the go. I wanted to make this for a while. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but Attack on Titan is my favourite anime of all time, and it may just be my favourite show of all time, aside from The Simpsons of course. So the reason I wanted to make this is to document my journey through the series and put it out there, to weigh the quality of the different seasons, not for its own sake but for mine. I wanted to see what I valued more in a show, what I resonated with, laughed about, cried about, shouted at, and shocked from. For me, there was no better show to pick for this experience than Attack on Titan. The airing of the new seasons and episodes at the time was a sense of belonging for me in the world. I remember when they'd announced the new season premiere dates and everyone would be hype, and I'd be right there with them, losing my shit, not being able to fathom what would come next. And when all was said and done, I was sad it was over, but I was also satisfied that from start to finish, I got to experience this story alongside Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Sean, Connie, Sasha, Historia, Levi, Hanji, Erwin, Ymir, Reiner, and so many others I could name, but also the whole rest of the fanbase who were as enamored with the story as I am. So with that being said, I'm wrapping up this video. Thanks again if anyone has made it this far, I appreciate it, and I'll just leave you with this, because it's not really a goodbye.
See you later.